Alright, let's see if that did it. Can you see and hear me right now? Hopefully you can. Let's pull up chat. There we go. Excellent. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Welcome once again to beautiful western Wyoming. We're on day 8 of our dinosaur dig here. Today is Saturday, June 8th, 2024, and we are here in the Late Cretaceous Almond Formation, digging up some dinosaurs. I'm back at the Ceratopsian site today. So we've got, it's almost certainly a new species of horned dinosaur that we're digging up, and keep finding new bones all the time, and I'll show you some of them in a little bit. But right now, welcome. If anybody's watching for the very first time, let me introduce myself. And if you're not watching for the first time, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. This is the best way that I know of communicating scientific ideas and showing rather than just telling. I want to walk you through this process of doing paleontology, doing fossil science. That's why this is called paleontologizing, as I want to get this idea across that this is something that we do. It's an active process. It's a methodology. Paleontology, the study of fossils, isn't just some sort of arcane subject matter. It's not like a dusty book sitting on a shelf somewhere. It's something that we do. And we're doing that right now, and I'm here to show you that. So if you've got any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask. That's the whole point of these broadcasts, you know, is that live interaction. So I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Paleontologizing. And no days off tour. There you go, Hike the Earth. Yes, I said I was going to try and stream every single day that I could in the month of June while I'm out here, because I am out here for the entire month of June, from the 1st until the 30th. And, yeah, it's good to have you here. We've actually got some cloud cover right now, which is really nice. In fact, that almost looks like it could dump some rain. I hope it doesn't. But it could. Anything could happen out here in, out in the Rocky Mountain West on a live broadcast, so we'll see what occurs. Today's not been too hot. It's been a little bit breezy and a little bit cloudy occasionally, which has been really, really nice. Good day for working and work we have been doing. Again, we're digging up this horned dinosaur, and we were doing some mapping earlier this morning, making sure that our kind of Cartesian grid system is up to snuff, and then we've been doing some excavating since then. So I'll show you in a minute. Yeah. And you love ceratopsians, Dapper Demon? Well, we've got what's probably a new genus or species here. Pretty excited about. So again, this is the Late Cretaceous Almond Formation. You've probably heard of famous dinosaur-bearing formations like the Hell Creek Formation, or the Dejokta Formation of Mongolia, maybe the Morrison Formation here in the U.S. Few people have heard of the Almond Formation, partly because no dinosaurs have been named from this particular time and place. There's no dinosaurs that have even been positively identified in the almond, let alone named. And so that's one of the reasons why this work is so important, is that we're here filling in big gaps in our knowledge of dinosaur evolution and ecology and everything else in the late Cretaceous of North America. These rocks are about 73 million years old, so, dinosaurs, except for birds, went extinct 66 million years ago. So 73 minus 66, this is about, oh goodness, that's 4, and then about 7 million years before the extinction event. So, yeah, hang on, do I have that right? 73... Yeah, anyhow. Paleontologist, not a mathematician. I'm a little tired today. It's just been non-stop work since I got here, which has been great. We're getting some awesome things done, and I'm excited to share that with you. And Sabina Bean, how are you doing? Hello. Woodmaker says, do you have a favorite dinosaur or prehistoric animal? A bit more light-hearted question. It's a question I get a lot. Yeah, some of my favorite dinosaurs are dinosaurs that I've worked on. So Triceratops is up there. I've dug up a lot of Triceratops in my day. I'm pretty fond of them. Spinosaurids are a group that I'm working on right now. Spinosaurus, Suchomimus, Baryonyx, and their kin. We've got a paper coming out about them pretty soon. Let's hope. It's almost done with that. I had to put that on hold to be out here in the field, but expect that soon. And I like alvarezsaurs too. They're fun. Like Trirarchuncus, another dinosaur that I'm an author on the paper. I've presented on it at meetings and stuff. So yeah, I've got a few favorite dinosaurs, but they're things that I've worked on, you know. Yeah, everybody's got, I guess, favorite dinosaurs just, you know, because they're cool. But the more you work on dinosaurs, the more you realize, like, shoot, all of them are cool. So the ones that become the coolest to you personally are the ones that you work on. You know, those are the ones you get most excited about. At least that's the case with me. And how many dinosaurs have we found today, Space Bear? We haven't found any new dinosaurs today, but this is a site where we've been working for the past 8 days and then part of last summer as well. This is a new ceratopsian. It's probably going to be new at least. It seems like it's totally new, and it should be new. It's a horned dinosaur, kind of like Triceratops. We're digging up here. And you know, let's see, is that a colleague? I'm not familiar, Spaceberry, no. And Costco King says, did you hear about the kids that found a youth T-Rex? Are you talking about Black Beauty that was discovered back in the 80s in Saskatchewan? Because yes, I have. There's a cast of that specimen at the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco, back home. Yeah, but I'm not back home right now. I'm out east in Wyoming. Let's go take a look up at the quarry there. So let's see here. Today we have got Nick, Colin, Takuya, and Quinn here, continuing our excavation. And it's been a good day. Kind of a slow one. We're all a little tired. There was a storm that rolled through camp last night, woke a lot of people up. Not everybody got the best sleep, but that's how it goes sometimes out here in the field. And Quinn has very helpfully switched the music to some royalty-free stuff, so we've got some tunes in the quarry. That's always nice. How you doing, Quinn?
What's up, Chad?
Yeah.
How we doing, Danny?
Doing well, doing well. So here we are. Looking good, and that breeze and that shade is nice.
So nice.
Thank you, clouds.
Bees are gone.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been wasps that have been bothering us today. Not as bad as it has been lately, though, huh?
Pretty bad.
We think they're after the moisture in the rock when we kind of clear away new surfaces. You know, there's moisture in the ground, and this is such a dry environment out here that wasps they're looking for any source of water they can. And so, just, I guess, enjoying the humidity coming out of the ground here. But yeah. Dig us some rocks, rock boy. Excuse me, that's rock men, you know?
Rock men. We were boys last night, men today.
Do we want to introduce ourselves real quick for anybody just tuning in who doesn't know us yet?
Yeah, I'm Nick. I'm from Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I volunteer at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History. I worked on preparing the frill, ceratopsid frill, discovered last year. It's looking absolutely gorgeous.
So this same specimen,
so yeah,
and now he gets to dig it up.
Hopefully it's from the same individual and
yeah.
Be nice, and the pieces will fit nice and well together.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Nick. And Colin?
Hi, I'm Colin. I also volunteer at the Carnegie Natural History Museum in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I do CT work with sauropod vertebrae, looking at pneumaticity. And I also work in a neurobiology lab with Alzheimer's research.
Nice.
I work with monkeys, so this is a little different.
So
We're a little out of my element
here. A lot less
here.
Probably clean, a lot more dusty than that kind of work, I would imagine.
A lot more dusty, but you know what?
Yeah.
We love it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
love both sides of the coin.
Definitely, yeah. And Takuya, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure. I don't mean to face my back to the camera.
No, you're fine. Or I'm intruding with the camera here. You guys are working.
No. Yes, I'm Takuya from University of Cincinnati in Cincinnati, Ohio. We drove 3 days up to this Wild West, and it's been almost 10 days, I think. We've been working here, and yeah, it's been great.
Nice.
Lots of bones, new bones every day, and that makes things challenging too at times, but it's also very exciting. So it's a great place to, I guess, work as a team.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Takuya. Takuya's an expert on mosasaurs, by the way, if anybody's interested in those critters, and who isn't. So yeah, Takuya is one of the world authorities on those Mesozoic, or I guess Cretaceous, aquatic lizards. Mosasaurs are super cool.
He's a champion.
Yeah. And then we got Quinn. Yeah.
What's up? I'm Quinn Hawkins. I'm from Buffalo, New York. 4-year veteran of this almond formation out here in Wyoming. And it's good to be back.
Quinn's been here since the very beginning. Like, I've been doing this for the past 2 years. Quinn's been here since, what, 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like, seen this whole project develop and blossom into what it is today, which is pretty cool.
it's definitely changed a lot in a good way.
Yeah.
But,
When you first came out here, I mean, like, didn't know if you were going to find anything at all. This whole thing could have been a bust. And it wasn't. So
truly, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on a prayer. And
Yeah.
That's what we do out here. We guess, and then sometimes we're right, and
Yep.
we hit the jackpot.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Awesome. That's how science works sometimes. Maybe I'll bug you later for a music recommendation when we've got more chatters in here.
Okay.
But
All right.
yeah, so as to not put you on the spot all.
You'll like this one. It's really low key.
All right, cool. We'll get that later. But yeah, so yeah, we're working on the ceratopsian right now, and we've got some frill bones right here that are most prominent. There we go.
Real beautiful, and it kind of comes up. Looks like there might be a slight fracture here,
Mm-hmm.
and then it continues about here.
I wouldn't be shocked if that's like a parietal bar up there.
It
Something
kind
like
of looks
that, yeah.
like a parietal muscle contact.
Oh, interesting. Where would the contact be? Like,
Ah, man. Yeah, because it's thick here,
Uh-huh.
and then fracture, and then
Epi occipital right there.
yeah.
Ontogeny.
Or epiparietal.
nice. Oh, where's the epi? Sorry, I wasn't looking.
Right here.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So the epiparietals and episquamosals are the little, like, triangular, pointy bones around the edge of the frill. I'll show you a diagram in a minute, yeah. But,
More frill.
yeah, I got more there. And then there's potential that we've got horn or something right here. Let me carefully set this right here so as not to lose it. But, yeah, got more bone in there. That bone texture. So there's potential for this to be maybe a horn, but we don't know. We're really hoping it's going to be a horn.
Yeah, you can put it right
But
over
we'll,
there for a diagram.
We'll see. We'll see. And let's see, how did I pick this up? I think it was just like this. Is that right?
I can fix it.
Yeah, thanks, Quinn. Let's set that on top so we don't lose it.
And there might be another one by Takuya's hand.
Yeah, look at that. I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, you wanna
Very
grab
cool.
that?
I haven't seen that one. Looks like an upside down chunk of a mastodon tooth almost.
Yeah.
Totally isn't, but from far away, that's the first thing my brain jumped to.
Oh.
Yeah. So nice. So painstaking work, Stuff doesn't go fast. But yeah. Quick Meteor says, Nick finding fossils, let's go. Is that somebody you know, Nick?
Nope.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm just joking. Yeah, I know. Awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
Nick's got so many fans.
Yeah, that's awesome fan club.
That is really cool, yeah. But yeah, and it's the Great Layer limestone. No, so this is kind of a shaly sort of mudstone that we got in here. Let's take a look. Yeah, so could be from like an oxbow lake or something. And speaking of water, we're getting a few dribbles here from that cloud. Just some sprinkles. Hopefully it doesn't turn into more. But yeah, this stuff is kind of an organic, rich, shaly sort of mudstone, I'd say.
Plant material and
Iron
iron.
rich.
Yeah. So you break it apart and there's... The little white flecks there are bits of gypsum. So that formed after the formation of the rock. It kind of forms inside the cracks. But within this, there we go. You get like little bits of organic stuff. So plant material and that kind of thing. Yeah, I would... The standard answer for this kind of rock is that, yeah, it might be like an oxbow lake. So when a meandering river starts to sort of straighten out in certain areas, you get these, you know, half moon-shaped or like comma-shaped oxbow lakes that form there. That used to be like the channel of the river, you know, like the main part of the river, and then it becomes an isolated little lake off to the side. And you get all kinds of organic material and stuff like that goes in there. If the river overflows its banks during the rainy season, might deposit a bunch of stuff in there again before the river goes back to its normal course. Yeah, you see the same sort of thing today in like low-lying floodplain environments. Think about, like I've said a million times at this point, the Mississippi River Delta, like Louisiana, areas like that. So yeah. Oxbow lakes, they are really cool, Bebo, they are for sure. And let's see here. Yeah, no trilobites here. Yeah, trilobites went extinct before the first dinosaurs evolved. So, not any shot we're going to find trilobites here. In fact, I was just telling a story about a friend back in Montana who had a little plastic trilobite and then snuck it into you know, like a sieving box that they were doing some screen washing up at Egg Mountain in late Cretaceous age rocks. Someone slipped this plastic trilobite into there as a prank, and then yeah, one of the undergrads or somebody found it and went, "What the heck?" Because yeah, trilobites, you don't find them in rocks that are this young, you know. But yeah, when going for fossils, is there a certain type of terrain or location you're looking for? Asked Bearcat. Yeah, basically like this. What we call like badlands topography. So, oh, and we got a little lizard there. Hello, little lizard. How are you doing? Ah, you're a small one. Howdy, howdy. Wow, just posing for the camera. Appreciate you. Look at you. Look at you. What's going on? You're just hanging out. Appreciate you, little lizard. Yeah. Looking at the microphone on top of the camera. You are too small to even try and catch. I'm afraid I'd hurt you. So we're just gonna video you for a minute here. And we'll go on our way. Yeah. Never gotten that close to the lizards out here. That's 2 days in a row. We've had some lizard friends be very obliging. And, yeah. Wanted to make an appearance on stream. What was the question I was answering a second ago? Before we got distracted by our squamate friend there? Let's see. Oh, what's the kind of terrain or location you're looking for? Stuff like this, with a lot of exposed rock. So, like, high desert environments are great for finding fossils. Especially, like, vertebrate fossils. You know, because you just got tons of exposed rock like this. There's actually much more plant material than there was even last year, I think. Oftentimes this looks much more dry, much more gray. There's a lot of greenery this year. Must have been a pretty wet spring. In order to have all this vegetation here. But like you see off in the distance there, those hills and cliffs, all that beautiful exposed rock. That's how we find fossils in the first place. You walk along, you look at the ground, you look for bits that are eroding out of the surface. You know, it's not like we just dig in a random spot somewhere. That wouldn't work. You'd never find anything. You let erosion do the digging for you, and that's how you find stuff in the first place. You kind of follow the eroded bone bits up, trying to find their source, and then hopefully there's a skeleton. That's exactly what happened at this site here last summer. Nick Longrich actually found this quarry. or found this specimen that we've turned into a quarry. Yeah. And then someone was also asking, like, what's our cover story if we have, like, anybody who comes through and asks us what we're doing. We haven't had that happen so far over the past week that we've been here. But, you know, we just say, you know, we're earth scientists, you know, just digging in some rocks, doing some geology. That's not a lie, because we are. Yeah. And Quick Meteor says, just subbed in order to watch Nick and find fossils and learn some cool facts. Well, thank you, Quick Meteor. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. This is what I do full time. This is how I make my living. So thank you for helping with that. And we'll go up and say hello to Nick in a little bit again. But I don't want to distract them too much. There's, you know, it takes a lot of concentration to be able to dig up a dinosaur, especially one as important as this. It's a good chance this is going to be a new genus or a new species. So yeah, it is important stuff. It really is. Let me scroll down and catch up to chat. Yeah. And do you have to get a permit to do this? Absolutely, Barian, yeah. We're digging on BLM land, Bureau of Land Management land. This is public federal land. And so, yeah, we've got to apply to the BLM to get permits, and that's exactly what we've done. We've got a good working relationship with the BLM here. And, you know, we're really lucky that, that the federal government allocates resources to help manage these lands and protect them, and to make sure that these fossils that we dig up here will end up in a museum, will end up being held in the public trust, you know, for as long as there are museums, for as long as our society continues, there will be these fossils in a museum, and people will be able to study them, the public will be able to enjoy them, all that good stuff. That's why we're here. And Latest Kate says, is it difficult to walk on steep rocky terrain? Does anyone ever slip? Yeah, people slip, but I've been doing this for a long time. And it's important to have good shoes. So I've got these are 8-inch hunting boots, Daner pronghorns, and I swear by these. They're fantastic. Excellent ankle support, good traction. I can and have walked in these all day, you know. I've walked, I think my record is like 27.9 miles in a day. I've walked in this particular make and model of boots. They're great. But yeah, you know, if you're new around here, you might take your time, you know, be extra careful walking up this terrain. Also watch out for things like rattlesnakes, and be looking at the ground, because you might even find bits of fossil. Could lead to a new site excavation. So, yeah. But, you know, I've been doing this since 2011. This is my 13th summer in the field, actually. I've dug fossils in the field every summer except for 2020 since 2011. You can thank COVID for 2020. But that's also the year I started streaming on Twitch, so I really can't complain. Now I'm here. And let's see, somewhere inaccessible that you would like to reach in the name of paleontology? Bebo Bobo? Oh, a bunch of places. It'd be really cool to be able to do dinosaur fieldwork in places like Iran or Afghanistan. There are Mesozoic strata, terrestrial Mesozoic strata there. There's rocks of the right age and the right type to find dinosaurs, I think, but not really areas that are hospitable for that kind of science, unfortunately. Maybe someday in the future, but not today. And, yeah. And Shadowwind Art, wait, do you need a story? No, it's if we have, like, looky-loos coming through here. We don't want poachers or other people finding out where we are and, you know, messing with our sites. It's a big problem in this part of the world, especially down in Utah, as I understand it. Lots of looters and smugglers and, you know, vandals, people just smashing up sites, trying to take bones as souvenirs or to try and sell them. There was a big sting recently with the Bureau of Land Management. They were able to catch some fossil thieves. Big sting operation. And that just, news of that just broke last year. It was like last October. But, yeah. So, we're trying to be discreet about where we are. That's why I say southwest Wyoming, or kind of near the town of Green River, because we don't, we don't want people getting any ideas. And there are people who come through here, Yeah. In fact, there's somebody going by right now. Yeah. And let's see here. And LTRM crew, Daner pronghorns, Danner, and then pronghorn, like the antilocaprid mammal. They're great, yeah. 8-inch hunting boots, but we're out here hunting fossils with these. It'd be ironic for a vegetarian to be wearing hunting boots, but they're great, yeah. And what is it about this specimen that makes you think it might be a totally new genus or species, asks Zombie Giant Sponge. Great question. It's the stratigraphy is the big part of it, and I really got to catch up to Chet here. So this is from the Late Cretaceous Almond Formation. There have not been any dinosaurs that have been named from this formation. So this particular age of rocks in this locality, like in this general area, no dinosaurs have been named from here. So generally when you find a new geological formation, you've got a new cast of characters. It's not just going to be the same dinosaurs that you have in other parts of the world at other times. This is a new time and kind of a new place, too. And so we have every expectation that this will probably be something new. Because historically, that's what's happened any time that you go to a new formation, is you find new dinosaurs. There have been 0 dinosaurs named from this formation. We're starting to find a lot of dinosaurs, and from what we can tell so far, they also look new. This doesn't look like any other ceratopsians that we've seen before. But we won't really know until we get this thing back to the laboratory, get it cleaned, craft studied, everything else. So this is going to be a years-long process before this thing gets published, but we're very excited, and we're finding more of it. So that's going to make our jobs a little bit easier in the sense that the more material we can find from this animal, the more information we can gather on it and what it looked like. So I hope that makes sense. And let's see here. But yeah, and we have a new guest appearance. What do you mean, Quick Meteor? Did somebody else just join us up there? No, still the same 4 guys. Yeah. We will have some people visiting from the other site, Turtle Hill, that's not too far away at some point, but I may or may not still be streaming at that point. We will see. Do you have an idea of the skeleton you're digging up, says Bearcat? Yeah, let me show you. Let's go grab the that visual aid, and I can use that to yeah. Oh. Let's see. Yeah. Ken just texted me. Nice, it's good, he's got my number. Yeah. Alright. There's our satellite dish. That's how I can broadcast to you from out here. And our... Wait, 68%? Good. That's at 8, not a 0, right? Yeah, 68%. We're doing okay. In terms of solar energy. Yeah. Let's see. There's chat. All right. Yeah. And let's see. Oh yeah, Ken says they were talking about a new juvenile Rex that some kids found in North Dakota. Tried to send it to you in chat a couple of times, but it got buried. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Yeah, I heard about this. They're called a teen Rex, right? Sorry, I immediately jumped to the conclusion that we were talking about Black Beauty, because that was a specimen that was discovered by some by some school kids back in the 80s, if I remember correctly, up in Saskatchewan. So there've been more than one, there's been more than one T-Rex discovered by school kids. It happens. There we go. There's our ceratopsian diagram. And what do you know, this is like the first time I've had this where it's not too windy. I don't even have to hold it while the wind blows it around. So, our ceratopsian dinosaur here that we're digging up probably looked roughly similar to this, except for maybe the shape of the frill and the horns. We're still, still trying to figure out exactly which pieces we have, but right now it looks like we've got part of the squamosal, which is this bone right here in the back of the frill, and we might have part of the squamosal parietal contact right there. So where the squamosal bone meets the parietal bone. And we might even have an epi there too, so one of these spiky bits. This is, I believe, Pentaceratops that we're looking at right here. Our dinosaur is vaguely similar to this. The postcrania is going to look pretty much the same. And apparently we've got some bits of rib here. We might go up and take a look at those in a little bit. But luckily, most of what we've got so far seems to be skull, which is the most important part, the most diagnostic. That'll make it easy to name this as a new genus or species. Like, among ceratopsian dinosaurs, generally they're postcrania. All of the bones behind the skull, they're not super distinctive. You got to look at the skull in order to figure out what kind of ceratopsian you're looking at. This is the part of this dinosaur that evolves the fastest. Among ceratopsians, you get a crazy amount of variation between different genera and different species. These skulls are just, those horns, those frills, those jugal spikes, the epis, all of these things change really rapidly. And that's the part of this animal that you want if you really want to study it and understand where it fits into the ceratopsid family tree. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Ontogeny.
There we are. Yeah. And let's see here. And the skeleton makes me think he'd be super friendly, says Quick Meteor. I mean, it's a plant-eating animal, so not likely to eat you, but might be kind of an ornery critter, sort of like a rhinoceros or a Cape buffalo. We've got reason to think that these animals would have been aggressive when threatened. I mean, a lot of herbivorous animals are. Big herbivores, they can be mean when they need to be. Especially when you've got other critters in your environment like tyrannosaurs that are trying to eat you. You got to be tough to deal with that. And we think these guys certainly were. Yeah. Ilium or ischium? What do you mean, Smartfay? I missed your question. The ischium is back here. The ilium is up top. Yeah. You can actually feel your own ilium bones if you take your hand and kind of go like the top of your hips up there on either side of your spinal column. Those are your iliac crests. So dinosaurs have got the same thing. It's just a different shape. So both dinosaurs and us mammals both inherited that bone from our common ancestor. You go back far enough in time, and we actually share a common ancestor with dinosaurs. You just got to go back really far. All life on Earth is related to each other. All right. So, we've got dinosaurs here, Ornithischian and Saurischian dinosaurs, and then mammals over here. And there's us. So, yeah. This is something that we as scientists have figured out over the past about, 200 years, is this idea that all living things are related. As far as we can tell, everything that we have on Earth that's alive shares a common ancestor about 4 billion years ago. And so, all these different organisms, animals, plants, fungi, and everything else, they can all be traced back to the origin of life about 4 billion years ago. Which is pretty cool. If we didn't have a fossil record, this would be pretty much impossible to figure out. Luckily, we do. And the evidence that we get out of the fossil record fits beautifully with evidence that we get from genetics. and from morphology, and from all kinds of other fields like that too. So it's neat that like different scientific disciplines can all converge upon the same answer, because that's true, we think. You know? Yeah. And it would be great if we could see them alive, Hummel. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not that we're part dinosaur. Who was that? Diet of Betus. We're not part dinosaur, but we are super distant cousins of dinosaurs, if you think about it that way. Just like we're super distant cousins of crocodilians and turtles and critters like that. Mammals and reptiles, they evolved from a common ancestor about 350 million years ago, something like that. Yeah, the base of Amniota. Here, I'll show you. Yeah. Anywho, that was... Where's my other diagram? There we go. Yeah. So, dinosaurs are everything that evolved from the common dinosaur ancestor. That's how we classify living things in science. You know, it's based on what they're actually related to, what their ancestry is, what they evolved from. You know, we don't classify things based on vibes or what they look like or how they make us feel or whatever else. It's actually based on ancestry. And that's like a real thing in the real world that we can find evidence of. When we're trying to figure out classification, we're trying to figure out ancestry. It's the same thing. We classify living things based on how they're actually related to each other. So mammals, like us, are over here on this branch, on this diagram. So if you want to get to the common ancestor of dinosaurs and mammals, trace that back to the beginning of this chart, amniotes. Amniotes are critters that live on land, or ancestrally they lived on land at least. Most of them still do. And they lay eggs, or at least ancestrally they did. Most of them still do. So today, all of the amniotes that are around are mammals, birds, and other reptiles. Birds are actually a kind of reptile, a kind of sauropsid. Birds are from the reptile side of the amniote tree, not the mammal side, because birds evolved from dinosaurs. Does that make sense? Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, and we got a raid going to here. Zatchap, is that you? Let's take a look. All right. 29 readers from Zatchap. Zatchap, how was your stream? I hope it was really good. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. We're out here in western Wyoming, digging up some dinosaurs. We've got a horned dinosaur being dug up right there over my right shoulder, and we'll go see that in a minute. But in the meantime, let me know if you have any questions, and tell me how your stream went, if you wouldn't mind sharing. I'd love to hear about it. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Ludenhoff says, how do you honestly know anything on what was going on 100 million years ago? Well, how do you think? We find the fossils. That's how we know any of this stuff at all, is we dig up the evidence out of the ground. You know, that's exactly what we're trying to do here. So, we can't tell everything, but it's remarkable how much we can figure out based on the fossil record. It's pretty darn cool. That's the sort of thing that gets me really excited, you know? If it weren't for paleontology, if it weren't for the study of fossils, we wouldn't know anything about what life on Earth was like, say, 100 million years ago, or here, 73 million years ago. It's this wonderful window into the past, and this is hard-won information. This stuff is not easy, you know? Digging up this dinosaur has taken us 2 summers so far. Hopefully we can get all of it out that's there this summer, but we'll see. We might end up coming back to the same site next summer. And there's thousands upon thousands of hours that go into digging this thing up, well, looking for it first of all, then digging it up, taking it back to the laboratory, getting it cleaned, getting it prepped, photographed and studied and written up and then published. You know, it's a tremendous amount of work. But it's like one little puzzle piece in this vast kind of mosaic puzzle of the history of life on Earth. And it's such a privilege to be involved with this and to be able to contribute to it, you know, and to be able to share it with you. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Let me know if you've got any like kind of more specific questions about how paleontology works. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Yeah. Yeah. And we're getting some rain here. Hopefully this is just a brief downpour. I am going to shelter the camera inside of this right now while it's raining, so we don't get water on it. And my encoder, we shouldn't be getting any rain on that because my body's in the way. But yeah, welcome to the field. This is how it goes. Anything can happen. Live broadcast. Yeah. Man, cold drops. Shoot. Yeah. Try to cover up my phone too. Hopefully this lets up soon. But this is kind of how it goes out here when you're back east in Wyoming. As I would say, I'm from California. But out here in like the Rocky Mountain West, you get these sudden storms that just blow through. Might be 10 minutes of a downpour, and then it's done, because it's just one cloud like that, you know. So I'll put you like this. Make sure we're not getting rain on the encoder. And hopefully my phone is more or less waterproof. Yeah. Big ol' raindrops. Really not ideal. I might go... we do not want the router to get wet. Or the solar battery. This is not good. We're gonna be okay. Just gonna go shelter behind this little ridge. Seems like it's letting up. Yeah, you can still see me, right? The camera didn't shut off? Someone said, oh no, darkness. That doesn't mean we have a black screen, right? We're good. Thank you, Lenina. Okay. Yeah. Alright, much better. See? That's pretty much it. Let's hope that's the last of it. Yeah. Field work. This is how it goes. Yeah. And what little microclimate thing? Yeah, it's called a cloud. So occasionally you'll just get one rain cloud that drifts overhead, dumps some rain, and then keeps going. That's exactly what happened here. Yeah, Wyoming has what we call a continental climate, so it's pretty far from the coast, and you can get just crazy weather. You know, huge temperature swings, just like little isolated clouds that are all laden with moisture, and it's just like one cloud, you know, out of a bunch of other clouds. That one cloud dumps a bunch of rain, that kind of thing. So we can see there's getting some rain over there, but hopefully that's the end of this. Yeah. Yeah. Does rain make the work easier or harder? Usually harder. Yeah. Because you got to try and tarp over stuff or like protect the bones. You don't want them getting soaked. Yeah. When the weather is unpredictable, it definitely makes things tougher. Yeah. And holy cow, got 1,022 viewers right now. Well, welcome everybody to Paleontologizing. Sorry about that rainstorm. I've got no control over that. But we're out here in western Wyoming digging up dinosaurs. And I am so happy to be sharing this with you right now. I'm glad you're here, and let me know if you've got any questions. We're of course digging in the Late Cretaceous Almond Formation. Obscure geological formation, never really been thoroughly explored for dinosaurs. There's only a few dinosaurs that were ever excavated from here, And they've never been properly described. I don't think they've ever been published on. So chances are this horned dinosaur that we're digging up here is going to be either a new genus or a new species. Well, a new species or a new species and new genus. It's pretty likely. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. But yeah. And stream is also front page as I've come in from the recommended. Well, welcome, Iron Overloaded. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Let me know if you've got any questions. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and this is what I do. I've been digging dinosaurs and other fossils almost every summer since 2011. 2020 is the only summer I've missed so far because of COVID. But COVID is also the reason why I started streaming on Twitch, so here we are. It's good to have you here. Again, let me know if you've got any questions. And Nick seems like a cool guy, let me tell you. And we'll go say hello to him in a minute, I think. Yeah. I wonder if there are any questions about dinosaurs or paleontology that you wish people would ask more, for whatever reason. Just because you like talking about something, because it's niche, people don't know about it. Great question, Sabina Bean. I do get a lot of different questions. Some of them are the same question over and over again. Where are you? How do you find fossils? What's your favorite dinosaur? That kind of thing. I enjoy answering those too, but they do happen a lot. I really like in-depth questions that show that somebody knows a little bit about dinosaur paleontology first. But I don't know. I'm happy to get any questions at all. Can't be picky when you're doing this kind of thing, So, yeah. Any questions anybody's got, I'm here to answer them. And let's see here. Denjoga says, seems like digging in the middle of nowhere would be a good thing to do during COVID. I suppose, but it often requires a lot of travel to get to a place like this. So, I live in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I drove all the way out here. It's like a 2-day drive. I think it's about 900 miles, something like that. And you don't really want to travel during a pandemic. That's how you spread things around more quickly. So, yeah. Very few paleontologists are lucky enough to actually live near their field sites. So they're not traveling very far to get to the fossil-bearing areas. Yeah. Did dinosaurs ever get hiccups? Asked Shadowwind Art. I'm not sure. The way that but here's the way I would go about testing that. I love that question. Hiccups don't fossilize. So, I could just tell you, oh, well, we don't know and we'll never know, and don't ask that question because hiccups don't fossilize. But I'm not going to say that. Because as paleontologists, we do have a few tools in our tool bag for trying to figure out questions like that, or at least think about them in an organized way. And when we're trying to do something like this, when we're trying to figure out something about dinosaurs that doesn't readily fossilize, we often use what we call the EPB, the extant phylogenetic bracket. And basically what that means is we think about the closest living relatives of dinosaurs. So dinosaurs are part of Archosauria. It's a group of reptiles that includes crocodilians, and it includes birds. Birds are living dinosaurs, and crocodiles and their relatives are kind of like cousins to the dinosaurs. So the first thing that I would do in trying to figure out whether dinosaurs could hiccup would be to ask whether or not birds today ever get the hiccups, or do crocodiles or alligators, gharials, their relatives, do they ever get the hiccups? If both of them do, and they bracket Dinosauria, crocodiles are on one side, birds are dinosaurs, they're on the other side. If both birds and crocodiles get the hiccups, then that means that chances are the common ancestor of all three of these groups was capable of hiccuping, and so dinosaurs would have been capable of hiccuping too. Does that make sense? And Swellertainment, thank you for the raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining us. We're We're on a dinosaur dig out here in Wyoming. This is what I do during the summers, and I'm so happy to be able to share it with you. Let's go up and investigate. We just got a sudden rain shower, so we're just kind of recovering from that right now. Let's go up and see the quarry. How wet did you guys get?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I grabbed that tarp real quick, though.
Nice. Yeah, put the tarp over the fossils. Yeah. Good thinking, Quinn. You got to think on your feet out here. But yeah, it's yeah, shoot, it's been a week since any of us have had a shower.
Hey,
and it might be.
Up in the Walmart bathtub.
You did? Okay, nice, nice. I haven't gotten to do that yet.
So it was kind of miserable.
I've been using a lot of wet wipes back in camp before I get into my sleeping bag.
Baby wipes, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Baby wipes.
Essential. But it might be another 3 weeks before I get a shower. We'll see. I'm out here till the. I pay attention to how I smell though.
He trims up his beard every morning.
No, not yet. I do need to shave at some point. This is getting all scruffy up here. But yeah. Deodorant and wet wipes, very important when you're out in the field.
And toothpaste.
Yeah, and toothpaste, for certain. Yeah, so here is our ceratopsian quarry. Nice job putting the sweatshirt over there, excellent. Trying to protect it. Hopefully that's the last of the rain we get today, but...
The radar says it should be good.
It does look like we've got some more clouds over there, but who knows whether or not they'll hit us. It's always,
Wyoming's very hard to
yeah,
pin
it's a good
down
way to
on
put it.
weather.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we've got here is hopefully a new genus, or new species, or even new genus of ceratopsian dinosaur, horned dinosaur. We started digging this up last summer when paleontologist Nick Longrich found it. And we got our excavation permits this year, and we are really digging into this hill. So that sheer rock wall that you see right there, that wasn't here at the beginning of the summer, a week ago. We cleared away all of this rock up until there in order to be able to get down to the bone layer and find some more of these, more of this dinosaur's fossils. So yeah. And yeah. But yeah, and yeah, that does sound like a good idea. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really get things delivered out here, so. Yeah, but I've got little wet wipes.
You just need a P.O. box.
Yeah, out here in Wyoming. Yeah.
You should do a P.O. box live stream. Like people send in stuff.
No, I do that sometimes. Yeah, I do have a P.O. box back home. And people send stuff, and I open it up. But yeah. Anyway, if anybody's got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We've got 1,179 people watching right now.
That's crazy.
So not too shabby.
When's the hot tub stream?
Definitely not now. Shoot, I wish we had a hot tub out here. That would be
the grimiest hot tub.
It really would be. Oh my goodness, it would just instantly break it because the jets would get clogged with dirt and dust.
We don't want to think about that.
Yeah, it'd turn into a mud tub awful fast.
There's some spot treatments for that. Great for your complexion.
Yeah. And how much area are we allowed to excavate? As much as we need to here, really. We want to be as low impact as possible, but we've got a full excavation permit, so as big a hole as we need to dig to get this dinosaur out, we can do it. We've got special permission for that. Last summer, we only had a prospecting permit, like surface collection permit, so we could dig a square that's 1 meter by 1 meter, just over a yard, just over 3 feet. Not this year. We can dig a hole as big as we need to, but we're not going to dig a hole that's too big because A, that wouldn't be very respectful to the land here, and B, that's a lot of hard work. We don't want to do that. So yeah. I'm really glad that we've got these things too. This is like a new thing that Ethan introduced to me. Those wet bags like that?
Yeah.
Or dry bags?
Yeah.
That's all full of plaster and
Heavy as heck getting up that hill though.
oh yeah. Yeah, plaster is not light. And since we've got a bunch of new people here, let me go down and answer some of these questions and let these guys concentrate here on the excavation. And maybe I'll drink some water too. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. Yeah. All right. And let's see. Lockmax says, do you have a second choice aside from paleontology? What would have been your alternative? I don't know. I'd never had an alternative. Becoming a paleontologist was my backup plan. My parents sometimes joke that when I was a little kid, I really wanted to grow up to be a dinosaur. That didn't pan out, so I did the next best thing. I wanted to become a paleontologist, and here we are. So this was my backup plan. And cattle trough, the western jacuzzi. There you go, Ken. I have bathed in a cattle trough before, up in Garfield County, Montana. Yeah, those are good times. We had a question about how do we find sites like this in the first place? Like, how do you end up discovering a dinosaur and digging it up? Well, last summer I was out here with a crew of some of the same people. Quinn was on my crew last year, for instance. We were led by Ethan Cowgill from the Utah Geological Survey. And yeah, we're out here in Wyoming, and Nick Longrich, who is a paleontologist visiting us for a little bit from the University of Bath in England, we were out prospecting, and Nick Longrich was walking up this hill, and he spotted some bits of ceratopsian bone. He's like, this looks like ceratopsian texture. And indeed it was, just eroding out of the hill here. So the reason we came to this area in the first place is that other paleontologists were exploring this area in the 1930s and found some dinosaurs. Never named them for whatever reason. Never really studied them, never published on them. But we knew stuff was out here. In order to find dinosaurs, you've got to find rocks of the right age and the right type exposed on the surface. That's why we have so many dinosaurs from the Rocky Mountain region of the United States and Canada, and now going down into Mexico too, is that you've got these areas where mountain building pushed up the land, so it becomes an erosional environment. You've got constant erosion going on, and it's very dry. So erosion plus aridity means that you don't have a lot of plants. There's just exposed rock on the surface. And these rocks date back to the Late Cretaceous period, heyday of dinosaurs like ceratopsians and duck-billed dinosaurs and tyrannosaurs. And those are the kinds of dinosaurs that we're finding here. No tyrannosaurs yet, but with any luck, we'll stumble across some in the next couple seasons, I hope. So yeah, anyway, when you get to a place like this, you got to make sure that you're digging on, well, you're looking around on land that you've got permission to look around on. So we got a prospecting permit from the Bureau of Land Management, because this is all federal land here, public land. It belongs to we, the people of the United States, and it's protected under federal law. So you've got to get permits to be able to prospect and collect fossils off the surface. So that's what we did last summer. We were up prospecting. Nick Longrich found some ceratopsian bones. We followed them up and figured out where they were coming out, and sure enough, there's some more in there. And now we've got a partial skeleton of a ceratopsian dinosaur that we're excavating right now. We got our full excavation permit, so we could dig a big hole, too. So that's basically how it works, you know? A little oversimplified, but there you are. And how big are the fossils that you're digging up? So, Radonna, this animal itself would be probably about, 15 or 20 feet long at least, from nose to tail. The particular fossils that we're digging up are not particularly large. So I'll show you in a minute. We've got some ceratopsian bone up there. Some pieces maybe about that long. Pieces of the frill. This is kind of disarticulated, like everything fell apart. So it's not like a skeleton where all the bones are, in life position, all the bones are touching each other. These bones have been scattered after the animal died. And it makes it a little bit trickier to find some of these bones. You dig for a while before you hit anything in the quarry itself. I'll show you in a minute. But, yeah. And are all those people digging the same dinosaur, Ludenhoff asks? We think so, yeah. There is a chance that there could be multiple dinosaurs in there. We're not totally sure yet. Things are always a little hazy in the field. When you first find something, you have the least information about it that you'll ever have. So there could be multiple dinosaurs in there, but we think so far there's no reason to think that there's multiple dinosaurs. It all seems to be the same critter so far. Oh, and a bit of turtle in there too. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And does ground generally keep growing up? For example, even World War II relics are found buried in the ground despite being more recent at 80 years. So it depends. In certain areas you have erosion, and in certain areas you have deposition. So in depositional environments, you have sediment being laid down, and so stuff gets buried. In erosional environments, earth is being eroded away, and so stuff gets exposed, it gets unburied. This used to be a depositional environment during the Cretaceous period, back when this was sea level, right here on the coast during the Cretaceous period. These dinosaurs lived in a floodplain environment right down by the beach. Sea levels were very high back then. Lots changed in the past 73 million years. Now, what used to be sea level is 7,000 feet in the air, and it's very much an erosional environment. You don't have sediment being deposited. Instead, all this stuff is being eroded away, and the fossils that are here in the rocks are being exposed. That's how we find them. Does that make sense? And the law of superposition, there you go, Ms. Blue Skies, yes. The older stuff is the stuff down below. And, yeah. Hogan says, I have a face for radio. Thank you, Hogan. I won't think too hard about what that means. And did tectonic plates move? A little bit, Rackbar. Yeah, here, let me show you. Bring out another visual aid here for the dozenth time, but it's useful, so we're going to do it. I've done this every one of these streams so far. I think it's in here. But, there we are. Yeah, so this is a paleo map of North America from about 70 million years old. So this is just a little bit younger than the rocks that we're digging here, but it's still instructive. This is really useful because it shows you the western interior seaway. During the late Cretaceous period, sea levels were very high. So the center of North America, places like North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, these were all underwater. A shallow, almost tropical sea. Think about like the Caribbean today, or the Mediterranean. That's what it was like back then. And so sea levels fluctuate over time with changes in temperature and stuff like that, and changes in elevation in different areas. And so the western interior seaway expanded and contracted. It ebbed and flowed at multiple times during the Cretaceous period. Like, none of this stuff is static. It's always changing. And so 73 million years ago, we're right here in Wyoming right there. 73 million years ago, we were out on the coast. So the seaway had expanded. It had embiggened. And these dinosaurs that lived in the Almond Formation were living right down by the beach. Think about, like the Mississippi Delta. Think about modern-day Louisiana. Kind of that sort of environment. Not just in terms of sea level and elevation, but also in terms of the kind of the overall climatic and faunal and floral vibe. You had stuff like cypress trees and like marshy plants and stuff like that. You had turtles and crocodilomorphs. Excuse me, not necessarily modern crocodilians, but they're relatives. And all kinds of different fishes swimming around in the water. Bowfin and gar and maybe even paddlefish. I don't think we've found any paddlefish stuff yet. But and then on land, dinosaurs were walking around. Tyrannosaurs, big duck-billed dinosaurs, the hadrosaurs, ceratopsians, the horned dinosaurs, like we're digging up here. We're all living in this environment. And Nom Nom Berry says, hello, love dinosaurs. So cool to have found your stream. So interesting. Thank you, Nom Nom Berry. For anybody else who's new, let me introduce myself. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm here to answer your questions and kind of walk you through this dinosaur dig. We're digging up a new ceratopsian dinosaur here. Almost certainly a new species or even a new genus. Because these rocks are largely unexplored, and chances are any dinosaurs that we find here are going to be new. That's generally what happens when you look in a new geological formation that's been unexplored. You find new dinosaurs. And so far this one does look like it's new, but we'll have to really study it to figure that out for certain. Monmel says, do you think we'll be able to discover all the dinosaur bones so paleontologists will lose their job? Certainly not. No. Dinosaurs were around on Earth for like 180 million years. There are tens of billions, probably, of dinosaur fossils buried in the Earth in various places. And there are not nearly enough paleontologists in the world to be able to exhaust that resource, exhaust those specimens for the next 1,000 years. Yeah, there's probably a couple hundred dinosaur paleontologists working in the world today. And on average, we find, a new dinosaur genus or species is published on average about once every 9 days. At least that's the rate for the past decade. And it seems to be holding pretty steady there. There are lots and lots and lots of dinosaur fossils to be found. Even if we found, examples of every single dinosaur genus and species that it's possible to find, we would still need more specimens in order to be able to gather data about individual variation, ontogenetic variation, stratigraphic variation, the biology of these animals, all kinds of stuff. We've got very poor sample sizes for most dinosaurs. Most dinosaur species or genera that have been named have just one specimen, and it's usually pretty fragmentary, usually just a handful of bones. So there's always more to be learned, there's always more to be found, and the more we go out and look, the more we find. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Yeah. And how are you not running out of names for them, Rakbar? I mean, we kind of are, sort of. The number of new dinosaurs that end with the suffix saurus has definitely plummeted in recent years. There's all kinds of new names, new naming schemas and stuff like that, new languages that paleontologists dip into in order to come up with original names for dinosaurs. Things like Jacapil from South America, just named a couple years ago. It's like a local language that the critter gets its name from. Stuff like that. You've got all kinds of cool dinosaur names like, I don't know, there's one from Mongolia, an oviraptorosaur called Khan. Khaan. You've got dinosaur names that are derived from Spanish or from Mongolian or from Chinese. Lots of different languages around the world are lending words to dinosaur names now, which is pretty cool. I think that's neat. So the old archetype of this saurus and that saurus, it's not just that anymore. And Twitcher 2012, I agree. In science, we use the metric system. So, when I'm talking about this stuff, I use metric. I'll talk about meters, centimeters, etc. I'm still learning degrees Celsius, but yeah. There's a lot about the United States that's not necessarily very well thought out or sane, even. But we're not going to get into there yet. Not now. There's a trilobite named Han Solo. Exactly, Diagonal, yeah. Theropod. Thanos from yes, metric system for the win, Amberlyn. Absolutely. Yeah. And how long has the channel been up? So I've been doing this for 4 years now, doing paleontology outreach on stream. I've been doing live streams from the field since 2022, I think. Or was it 2021? Might have been 2021. Yeah. But it's only the last 2 years that I've really been doing a bunch of these streams, when I've got this gear that allows me to do this remotely. Got a satellite dish, got solar panels, got a solar battery, and internet router there, and then all of this equipment, the mobile encoder, and the camera and everything else. So I can do this from totally off the grid, and it's awesome. It's because of this really generous community that any of that's possible, so thank you, everybody. really glad I can share this with you. Yeah. You think the name Utah Raptor is lame, Amberlyn? Oh, I just did a big Utah Raptor stream last Wednesday. It was my biggest one ever. Jim Kirkland, the state paleontologist of Utah, named Utah Raptor. And I think it's a good name in that it immediately tells you what the animal is. It's a dromaeosaur, and it's from Utah. Jim jokes that, not just jokes, but, says that might be the reason why he got the job of Utah state paleontologist. And that naming Utah Raptor, he was helping to kind of promote Utah dinosaur paleontology. So it was definitely a good name. Jim has I think a neat perspective on this kind of thing. Names are names. Whatever, they could be anything. But if a name helps you achieve a goal somehow, if it helps you do what you do, helps you to get funding or get people excited or do this or do that, then, all the better. Yeah. And what did you have to study to get your job? Chibi Kiki. Paleontology, fossil science. If you want to be a paleontologist, the best piece of advice that I can give you is to do paleontology. It's one thing to take all the right classes and get the right degrees and stuff like that, and that's important. But you can do that and not become a paleontologist. In order to do paleontology, you need to do paleontology. Get involved. Volunteer in a museum, or see if you can get a paid job in a museum, even if it's as a security guard or a janitor or something. Anything to get your foot in the door and be able to meet paleontologists and be able to start working on fossils. When I was in high school, I started volunteering at the Museum of Paleontology at UC Berkeley, the University of California, Berkeley campus. They've got one of the world's largest repositories of fossils there. Tremendous number of specimens. They don't have very many dinosaurs, but I got to work on some of those dinosaurs. I got to meet with paleontologists. I got to get involved. I just jumped head first into there, and that's really how I got started. I went to Montana State University, did the classes, all that academic stuff, but at Montana State, what was really important is I got involved with research and I got involved with fieldwork. And that's why I can do this today, is because, I got a lot of experience from doing that. I learned how to dig up dinosaurs. I learned how to conduct research on dinosaurs, how to publish on dinosaurs. So yeah, the most important thing is just getting involved. And we've got a bunch of people on our crew this year for whom, this is their first time ever doing fieldwork, which is really cool. For it to be your first time ever doing fieldwork and you get to work on new dinosaurs, that's pretty awesome. And so a lot of our crew members actually don't have any academic background in this at all. Many of them do, but many of them don't too. So crews are, when we're doing fieldwork, we're usually scrounging around for funding. We don't have the ability to pay people to be out here, but we can provide meals and, good vibes, and we rely on volunteers in order to be able to dig these dinosaurs up, because there is very, very little funding for this kind of science, unfortunately. As cool as it is, and as important as paleontology is, as inspiring as dinosaur paleontology is for getting people interested in science, or even getting people interested in the idea of learning at all, we're grievously underfunded in this discipline. So, yeah. For instance, a huge chunk of our funding for this year came from our Twitch viewers here. This would not be possible to the extent, the level that we're doing things right now, this would not be possible if it weren't for the support of you good folks watching at home. So, yeah. And Nick is having fun. I know it. Yeah, Quick Meteor. We'll go up there and take a look. And Tammy QT says, I love this so much. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. What percentage of your time is spent on field work? Asks Converter. Great name. So I'm doing about 2 months of field work this summer. And field work is like a 24/7 thing when you're out in the field, for the most part. You know, we're out here sleeping in tents, cooking our food outdoors, discussing ideas with colleagues and everything, and then during the work hours, we're actually out prospecting or excavating or stuff like that. And so, considering that, I could say that's 2 solid months out of the year. So yeah, about 1/6 of my time is spent doing field work on average every year, I would say. Yeah, which is a lot. That's a lot. Not every paleontologist does field work. Some paleontologists just work in the laboratory or just work in the office. There are some paleontologists who like literally almost never touch any fossils. But that's not me, and that's not us. We are out here in the field digging up these dinosaurs. And so glad that you can follow along live. Yeah. And Diet of Beatus says, what happens after you finish digging up everything from a site? Well, we close it down. And we take the fossils back to the museum, and so they can get cleaned and studied, published on, and if they're charismatic enough, and if there's enough budget for it, maybe put on display. Oh, yeah. Nick, you've got some viewers excited to see you again.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Who is it this time?
Yeah.
Freaking time.
Let's see, I forget that chat's moving so quickly.
Well, I love my little fan club.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for bringing these viewers.
I think I heard you, but I am having fun. I'm feeling like a big
Starstruck.
baby.
Yeah.
Starstruck. He's working in my quarters.
Working so hard.
Yeah. It's Nick's the first summer out here digging with us. First time doing field work, right?
Second time.
Second time doing field work.
First
Oh, that's
time
right. We talked about
dinosaur
that.
stuff.
Yeah, nice.
I did
nice.
mapping of Cretaceous rocks in
Nice.
Elk Basin.
Cool. Like a field camp kind of thing?
Kind of, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So,
That's good training, and then, yeah.
training me, pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah.
unique experience.
So yeah, we got Nick, we got Colin, we got Takuya, and we got Quinn right now. And you're digging up this ceratopsian dinosaur for everybody who's just joined us. And the most charismatic part of it has got to be this bit of frill right here. Yeah. This probably gives you some idea of how much practice it takes to be able to identify these things in the field. You might be watching at home and just going like, oh, that all looks like rock. But right here, this is bone that we've got right there. This is a piece of the frill of this big horned dinosaur. I think that might be part of the parietal or parietal squamosal contact might be up there. That might be an epi, one of those spikes on the edge of the frill. But a lot of this stuff we're not really going to know 100% until we get it back to the laboratory and get it clean. You know, this is, as you saw from the rain shower we had earlier, this is not a controlled environment out here. So we want to get these bones out of the ground as quickly as possible so they don't get wrecked. And then we can do the identification work, actually clean everything off in the laboratory under controlled conditions, inside, air conditioned, all that.
Air conditioning.
Yeah, don't you miss it? Well, it's nice getting this breeze right now in these clouds.
It is nice.
Hopefully they don't dump any more rain on us. But, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and you see some of the tools that we're using here too. Quinn's got that soft brush. Yeah, we work slowly and carefully here. Yeah. Nick's got that oyster knife.
Super handy.
Yeah, it's really great for mudstone. I love oyster knives.
Yeah, definitely my favorite tool. And the dental pick.
Yeah,
Wherever
nice.
that guy's at. That guy's.
Or the awl, yeah.
This thing's cool.
Also called like an ice pick right there. Yeah. So you'll see they're just kind of slowly chipping away some of this rock here, turning over, following the natural cracks in the rock, and it should fracture around the bone. And you'll see after Nick and Colin they've got some fragments of rock right there. You put it into the scoop because occasionally you think you've just got rock in there, but then it turns out there's a little chunk of bone or something. So we want to have like a temporary holding tank for this stuff so that you don't accidentally end up sending a piece of bone down the hill. It goes into this geological quarantine there temporarily as it's being processed. And yeah, that way it doesn't get discarded prematurely. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, and we got a raid. Excellent. Oh, Quick Meteor says, "Go Nick, go!" Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is there a method to how you discard the dirt? I just described it, Gary and Kellis. You probably typed that in before I said that. But yeah. When this bucket's full, we just dump it here.
Yeah. We're like 95% sure there's no bone in there. Actually, I know it. It's 100% sure.
Exactly.
No bones in here. This is your 95% check here.
Yep.
100%, and then we just kind of. This is a, just in case, a safety.
Exactly. That's our insurance policy right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We've gone through a lot of rock. A whole lot of rock.
Yeah.
Thank you for the raid. Oh, and Bebop Becca says, tell Nick Becca is here, please.
Let's go.
Nick, Becca is here, please.
Hi, Becca. Thanks for telling.
Awesome. Good to have you here, Becca. And we got a raid earlier, too. Who was that from? I want to thank them. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting a few raindrops here.
Oh, sorry, copyright.
Cody Shibley says, love the vibe here. What's the closest city or town to where you guys are now? Oh, this is Wyoming. There's no cities or towns. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. As on a needed no basis.
Yeah. Now, we're kind of near the town of Green River, Wyoming, the southwest corner of the state. That's as specific as I can get. Because, we don't want looters or poachers or vandals coming to the site and messing things up and causing trouble. So we keep a low profile around here. Because, yeah.
Guys, I would get ready.
Yeah, that does look like that might hit us. There's a big curtain of rain coming down there.
There's a storm coming.
Yeah. Are you quoting Star Wars Episode 1?
No, absolutely not. Why would I do that? No.
And why would I understand that? No, of course not. No.
One thing about paleontologists is that we're also great meteorologists.
Yeah, we kind of have to, or at least, I don't know. We can tell when it's raining. Yeah. And why is the dig area gray, but the general ground is brown color? Asked Twitcher. Well, we got different lithologies here. You've got this big blocky sandstone up here, probably a channel sand. So like the bottom of a river, flowing water like that was depositing kind of sandy stuff. But then this was different. Maybe the remains of an oxbow lake or something. Quiet water, very organic, rich. You've got different ways that this rock was formed in the first place, and that yields different colors and different consistencies. That's the geological part of field paleontology. Very important. Yeah. Yeah. And let's see.
You want to zoom up on this nice piece of bone I found that's underneath?
Oh yeah, shoot.
I mean, it's really hard to see.
I step right here? Is that fine?
Yep. You're all
Okay.
good. It's just right here on this corner. So this big piece is yielding a lot of just various bone chunks and fragments
Nice.
on this pedestal
Uh-huh.
of rock. So it's you got to keep in mind. You'll be very careful while you're creating your pedestal for the plastering and jacketing.
Yeah, we're going to put a jacket over this. I don't know if we'll be able to get a jacket on this today. What's our plan? Do you think are we trying to do that?
But
That was the initial.
We'll see if the weather holds. Yeah.
Might be a tomorrow thing.
Yeah, there is a chance that if we start really getting rained on, I'll have to end the stream and I'll cover up the fossil and everything else. But so just be aware of that in chat.
Don't cry. We'll be back.
Yeah. The plan is to stream every day this month, if that's possible, whole month of June. So yeah, don't hesitate to. What do they say on YouTube? Smash that follow button, mangle the subscribe, whatever else. All that.
Something gang.
Yeah.
Cretaceous gang.
Cretaceous
Yeah.
gang.
Ice cream's so good, gang. Yes. Yeah.
It's getting to us.
I don't have enough sleep for this, man. You can't keep doing this.
We're all a little bit tired. We had a storm roll through camp last night and woke a lot of people up and interrupted our sleep and everything. So it goes when you're sleeping in tents. Yeah, ring that bell. There you go, Gary and Kellis. Yeah.
Smash that like button. Hit that
Yeah. Mangle some merch. Yeah.
Is there official Danny merch?
Danny merch.
There is, but I don't really talk about it much because it's one of those print-on-demand services, and honestly, the quality's not very good.
Bye, Danny.
So I don't know. I don't talk about it a lot. But if people desperately want a paleontologizing shirt, you can get it.
I would buy.
But
That pin that you gave me.
yeah, those buttons I made.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, those are fun. I pressed those myself. I might have some in the car. I do have some in the car.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get you some.
I'll find
Remind me.
I'll find the Prius.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna do. One of these days, I'll do a bunch of hand printed shirts because I've got a screen press at home. I used to do a ton of screen printing to make sure it's high quality. You know, made in America. You know, union made. Union of one. Yeah, but
Don't go on strike.
yeah. Well, right now I am on strike, so we'll see if my demands are. We'll see if I meet my demands, and then finally I can make some merch. Yeah. But yeah, let me answer some more questions. Linnell Elephant says the quality isn't very good. That's an interesting way to promote your merch. I'm not trying to promote it. If you really want it, buy it. But it's not. I'm not out here trying to make money. Somebody was also asking, like, do you get to keep any of these fossils? Take them home? No, we're not out here to do that. We're out here for science. You know, every specimen that we're collecting has got scientific importance, and it's going to go back to the museum in Cincinnati to be studied by paleontologists, to be published on, and to be enjoyed by the general public. That's what we're out here for. Not for fortune and glory, not for, you know, like treasure seeking, not for personal gain. This is for the benefit of science, for the advancement of human knowledge. That's why we're out here. If we were all, you know, being all mercenary about things, we wouldn't be volunteering in the first place, you know? This is a project that's bigger than any one of us, a goal that's bigger than any one of us. That's what keeps us going. Mr. Werewolf says, why you gotta dig up the past? Because that's how we can predict the future. That's how we can understand the present. I mean, think about that. If we didn't have paleontologists out here digging up fossils, learning about the history of life on Earth, we would know so much less about the world around us. We would have such a diminished, you know, window into our place in the universe, you know, and our place here on this planet. Paleontology is one of those really special sciences where it can teach you so much. It can change the way that you look at the world, put things into perspective in a way that's really, really cool. You know, we as human beings, we now understand because of fossil science. We've only been around for, well, like 200,000 years in our modern form. And we have the first of the hominids, or hominins, like the group of primates that we belong to, only evolved like 2 million years ago. The Earth itself is about 4.5 billion years old. And life has been on our planet for about 4 of those billion years. Dinosaurs first evolved about 240 million years ago, probably. The earliest ones we ever about 235 million years old. And then they only go extinct, except for birds, 66 million years ago. So dinosaurs are around here for like 178 million years, something like that, 180, like so long. And yet they disappeared, except for birds. That gives us some perspective that, like, even the mightiest of dynasties can fall. Even creatures that are remarkably successful can completely disappear, except for birds. I always have to say except for birds, because birds are living dinosaurs. But yeah, knowing that, I mean, we understand that the changes that occur on our planet can have tremendous impacts on the ability of living things to survive. And we got to pay attention to those changes. Are we going? Let's see here. Let's see if we are back. Let me know. Yeah. We're back. Good. Thank you, Murph. Excellent. Sorry about that. Battery died. I had to swap it out real quick. We've had, as you can tell, kind of limited solar power today. And, yeah. And it takes the mobile encoder a frustratingly long time to reboot, but we're back now. And I'm glad you're back. Thanks for sticking with us through that. You know, broadcasting live from the field off-grid like this in the middle of nowhere is... could be a lot of technical difficulties. So thanks for sticking with us. Let's see. I will stop asking about the dog, Ava Little. Yeah, dog's at a different site, Ava Little. But thank you for the hype train, everybody. Holy cow. Yeah. And Undead Duchess says, hey there from the south of England. Hello from western Wyoming. My new small family, we have a 4-month-old son, are going to love watching this stream. Excellent. We love dinosaurs and can't wait to join you on your digging journey. How long have you been digging in your career? What has been your most memorable dig so far? Great questions. Thank you for the kind words. And hello to your young family. I'm flattered that you're watching, and I hope that you're learning a lot and that this is entertaining and that you're having a good time. I'm honored that you'd spend some of your time hanging out with us. Thank you. I have been digging dinosaurs since 2011. This is my 13th summer in the field. And, yeah, most memorable dig. There have been a lot. Shoot. I particularly enjoyed working in the latest Cretaceous Hell Creek Formation of Montana, digging up dinosaurs like Triceratops, Ankylosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah. That was actually my first summer in the field. In 2011 was working in the Hell Creek. I worked there for like 5 or 6 summers. Oh, and the wind is picking up. We might be getting some rain here. We'll see. But yeah. What site are you at today? We're working at the Ceratopsian site. So, digging up a new horned dinosaur. The guys have put a tarp over that right now because we might be getting some rain. And don't be too shocked if we've got to end the stream early because we just get a torrential downpour. We will see. Yeah. And hello from Newfoundland, says Ginger Turtle. Welcome, Ginger Turtle. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Saturday. I certainly am. Although, shoot, the days of the week don't really matter much out here. Every day is a work day. We might lose a few days here and there to rain, so we can't really afford to take any days off from digging. We've got 1 month to be out here. We've got 1 month's worth of funding, 1 month's worth of volunteers, and so every day is precious, and we make sure to make the most of it when we're out here. And I'm going to try to stream every day while we're out here too. So I'm glad you're along for the ride. And does rain help or hurt? It definitely hurts. We can't dig in the rain. Yeah. These fossils have been in the ground for 70 plus million years. They've been safe, sheltered underneath the rock. And then once we expose them, they are at risk of damage. You know, if they get soaked with water, they could just, blow up. They can crumble to dust. They can get washed away. And so rain is not something that we look forward to out here. That's why we make sure that we tarp over the sites and stuff like that, cover them up at night when we have to leave, because if you get a downpour overnight, you don't want that rainwater soaking into the fossil bone and destroying it. Yeah. And thank you for the gift sub there, Murph, the Lime SDR. I appreciate that. And reposting a question, thank you, Thing. Do you think it would be useful if someone on the team could predict weather changes by sensing changes in barometric pressure? Probably not, because the weather here is so localized. Looking up at these clouds right now, like that cloud over there is dumping a whole bunch of rain. This one right here is too. That one is not. That one is not. It's super localized. So barometric pressure is not going to be that precise, I don't think. It's all like, these clouds are all coming at us in this direction. Some of them have rain and some of them don't. And it might be a difference of just like, 50 meters or something. Might make all the difference in the world. So I know we've got low pressure right now, but we can also just, see rain approaching. Yeah. It's like asking if barometric pressure could be useful in trying to catch a fly ball at a baseball game. It's like, it either lands on you or it doesn't. That's probably not a good analogy, but Yeah, it's very localized here. Like one cloud might get you. It might be sunny, 100 meters in that direction, but you've got one rain cloud that just happens to pass right over you, and that's what gets you. And Duke says, any strange finds yet that would cast doubts on previous scientific or historical facts we know about dinosaurs? Yeah, a few, Duke, but I can't necessarily share them yet because they're not published. We do have some new finds about some Hell Creek dinosaurs that are like, oh wow, that's interesting. Stuff that nobody really expected before, but I can't tell you yet, unfortunately, because it's not published. Look forward to that in the future. It's going to be cool. Some of your more obscure dinosaurs are going to get a bit more attention. It turns out they were exhibiting some cool behaviors when they were alive. Stuff you wouldn't necessarily expect. And how are the other sites faring on collections? We're getting a ton of specimens out of Turtle Hill. We've got a few jackets out of our Barnum Brown hadrosaur site. And we're getting some more out of the hadrosaur skin site, too. Yeah. And we're still early in the season, We're less than a third of the way through. We're just 1 week. We're like 1/4 of the way through the field season, I would say. So we're doing pretty well. We're going to try and close out all 4 of these sites if we can. Well, Turtle Hill hopefully will keep going for decades. But the other 3 sites, we're hoping we can close them out by the end of June. That's the goal. That's why we're working so hard, is we've got limited time, limited funding. We really got to make the most of it while we're out here. So this ceratopsian site, we're hoping to get much, much more out of this before the end of the month. We'll see how many more bones are in there. So far, things have been good. And there's digging season. It is very weather dependent. A mat scientist, yes. So out here in Wyoming, it only looks like this for maybe a few months out of the year. There's snow on the ground, and it is freezing cold for, maybe 6 to 9 months out of the year. The first summer that our expedition lead, Ethan Cowgill, and crew came out here, it snowed. Yeah, maybe we can ask Quinn about that. Actually, he can tell us a bit of a story, and maybe we'll talk to Takuya too about doing field work in different places and how that's very weather dependent, and you can only really do field work during certain times of the year. Yeah. So Quinn here has been with this project since its very inception. So tell us about when you came out here in May and what the weather was like then.
So, we get here, it's average weather, and then we set up our tents, actually right around here.
Huh.
Thought this would be a good spot. And first night, we didn't have any firewood, so we started just lighting up sagebrush, and then one of these kind of storms rolls in, but instead of rain, it's snow, and like, oh god.
Yeah.
And
this is the beginning of May.
And so then we all take shelter in our tents, and it was so cold and so windy that I almost froze to death, and it was just probably the worst timing to be out here. And
I was kind of afraid that the beginning of June would be too early, that we'd still have snow, because it happens out here sometimes.
Yeah. So it's like no other place I've ever been. Barnum Brown talks about it.
Yep.
In his notes.
When he was here in 1937. Yeah. So, yeah, it's very weather dependent. Like, that's why summer is the field season here in North America, is because during other times of the year, it's just, you can't work out here. Yeah. So, yeah.
My tent broke that day, too.
On the first day?
First day, rain. It was so windy, one of my cords snapped right through my rain fly, and had to get one at Walmart.
Shoot.
For $40.
Yeah. That's lousy to have your tent break on the first day.
Yeah, it was expensive too. I was a little upset.
So it could be rough and tumble out here,
Yeah.
Like this isn't.
Do not bring an expensive tent. That's for sure.
Yeah, at least not a delicate, expensive tent. If you're gonna get a tent that's like vinyl or tent fabric, like what? Nylon. Don't get an expensive nylon tent. It will get wrecked. Yeah, if you're gonna get
It's nice though.
a canvas, I've got a canvas tent because I'm spending 2 months in the field every year at least. So it's like my apartment out here, Yeah. But having a good tent is important. Takuya, would you mind telling us about when you were working up in the Arctic Circle? Because that's something it reminded me of that when we were talking about this.
Do you have any specific questions?
So we were talking about weather and about how certain times of the year are the best for digging fossils. Like we can only be out here during the summer
Yes.
because otherwise it's a frozen wasteland.
Yeah.
Not to be unkind to Wyoming, beautiful state, lovely people, but man, does it get cold. When were you up there in the Arctic Circle? What time of year was that?
That was in July.
In July.
Yeah, of 2016.
Is that like northern Alaska or Canada?
No, Northwest Territory, Canada.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So I think it was something like between 70 and 80 degrees north.
North latitude.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was July,
Uh-huh.
so it wasn't cold. It was quite pleasant. Bugs weren't as bad,
Nice.
and it was just bright throughout the day and night.
Because you get 24-hour sunlight during the
Essentially,
peak
yes.
of summer there,
Yeah,
right?
so like midnight.
The sun never
bright.
dips below the horizon
Exactly.
that far north during that
So,
time of year.
So my solar charger worked exceptionally well, which
one of
was
the pluses, yeah.
good logistic decision on my part, I guess.
Definitely, yeah.
But,
And that was like 8 years ago, right? You
it
said?
is, yeah.
Which
No,
solar chargers would have been very uncommon back then.
I
you
just
were
had to think hard
Uh-huh.
in order for my phone to keep charged for
Yeah,
20
yeah.
consecutive days because
Mhm.
we were 200 kilometers away from the nearest populated city.
wow.
And so we got in we got helicoptered in
Uh-huh.
to the actual site. But we were not the first people back in late 1960s.
Uh-huh.
Dale Russell and
Yeah.
David Bardak was
Uh-huh.
there, but nobody went back there since then.
Interesting.
And so we just came up with a proposal.
Uh-huh.
Got funded by the National Geographic, and
Nice.
went there looking for marine vertebrate fossils.
Looking for mosasaurs in particular,
Yeah,
right?
mosasaurs in particular.
Yeah.
Didn't-
Takuya here's an
didn't
expert on
happen.
mosasaurs.
Didn't happen, unfortunately. But we found a lot of diving birds, so
Nice.
and also remains of fish,
Uh-huh.
and then remains of actually plesiosaur that we had to leave in
Ah.
the ground because it was towards the end of the season.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it was. It's very. You have to think many things just so that you can survive.
Definitely. Yeah.
I was there with 3 other people.
Uh-huh.
Enough
Small
food.
crew. Wow.
Yeah.
Just
well,
4 people.
Yeah, but funding again.
Yeah.
Just,
And I'm sure there wasn't much room in the helicopter.
that's right. And
Yeah.
we had on the way back. We had to need a cargo space for the fossils that we collected too.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, we did plaster jacketing up there in north.
Uh-huh.
And then we were tenting apparently in one of the reindeer's territories.
Oh, nice.
So we had a friendly reminder towards the end of our stay.
Uh-huh.
We should probably get going, get out of their antlers.
That's funny. Shoot.
Yes. So, but I think it is also a great time, great moment for us to be reminded. When you have only 4 human beings there out in the vast land of wildlife.
Yeah.
You're the visitors.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
you have to respect the boundaries with wildlife, and you get to learn those boundaries. I think as you
They'll teach you those boundaries.
That's right.
Some of those megafauna for sure. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's like out here too. Thank you, Takuya.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. I'd love to work up in the Arctic Circle sometime. But yeah, I mean, when you're out here in a place like this, it's it makes you appreciate your life back in civilization all the more. But it's such a privilege to be in a place like this, in a wild spot, and to see all these different critters all around. And that's why we try to be as unobtrusive on the landscape as possible, We're not littering everywhere, quite the opposite, If we find any bits of trash on the ground, we pick them up. We can't quite be leave no trace because, we're digging big holes in the ground to dig up these dinosaurs. That's an essential part of it. But we try and be as respectful as possible. When we're done with this site at the end of the summer, we'll kind of fill back in some of the quarry so it's not just like a big gaping hole. When we'll do what we can to like loosen up the soil in certain areas to make it easier for plants to grow back again. That kind of thing, you know. We try and be as conscientious as possible when we're working out here. And let's see here. Did I miss a raid or something like that? Sorry. Mo Beast says, hi, I'm Mo, small digital artist. Very cool. Do you actually stream the digging of the bones of stuff? Would love to see that. Yeah, we're not doing that right now because we've got some weather coming in. And, oh, well, maybe I can. Show Ken, or show Quinn working up there. But yeah. Later in the summer, when we've got more bones exposed, I'll be actually digging live on stream. But we're still kind of early on. We're still uncovering some of these bones. The quarry up there is still a little bit crowded for me to be up there next to everybody else digging while I'm streaming. So I'm taking a break from digging so I can kind of answer your questions right now. But stick around later in the summer, later in June, and then definitely in July and August. I'll be doing some streams from the quarry, digging with the camera right there so you can see how it actually works. Did a bunch of that last summer, and you can check out the YouTube page if you want to see some of those broadcasts. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. And let me drink some water, because I've not really done that yet, have I? And we're looking okay in terms of clouds. I don't see any rain clouds that are going to hit us in the next 5 minutes. They can really sneak up on you over those hills. So, yeah. Haven't heard any lightning yet either. It's also a good sign. And how did you end up streaming this stuff on Twitch? Ask Woosavision. Well, great question. So, I've been digging dinosaurs since 2011. And every summer since 2011, I've dug dinosaurs except for the summer of 2020 when COVID hit. That was the same time I started streaming. And it started off with just streams from my office back home in California, going over new scientific publications, talking about new papers in paleontology, answering people's questions, going over like portrayals of dinosaurs in popular culture, stuff like that. And then, the next year, I went out on a tour of different museums, and I live streamed that, and got back into field work. And so I've been doing that since then. Every summer, I'm out here digging dinosaurs. But I make my living through streaming. So I was able to combine those two things. And here we are. So I'm glad you can be here too. And Moby says, is this an old site? So this site is from last year. This was discovered last summer by a paleontologist from, he teaches in England. He was out visiting with us and stumbled across this ceratopsian. And we dug up a few parts of it last year, enough, as much as our permit allowed at the time. Now we've got a different permit with a much wider remit. We can dig a lot more rock this year. So we're doing that. We're digging up more of this critter. Hopefully we can get it finished this year. This is one of our priorities. And I've never been to Brussels, Poke Boomer. No, but I know the Bernoussaur iguanodon are there with all of those beautiful iguanodon skeletons dug up in the 1870s, I believe. 1880s? 1880s, I think. Yeah. Louis Dolo, a paleontologist back then, some of the first mounted dinosaur skeletons in the world. Iguanodon bernoussaurtensis. Yeah. And Nick Longrich is not coming out this year, Murph. No. But we've got Glenn Storrs from the Cincinnati Museum. We've got Takuya with us too. We've got Cameron. And they're going home in a few days, back to Ohio. And then Matt Lamanna from the museum in Pittsburgh, dinosaur paleontologist Matthew Lamanna. I think he's curator of the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. He's going to be joining us around the 20th or so, and that'll be really cool. So stay tuned for that. Let me take a look at our battery here, 59%. Now we're doing okay for not having much sun. With all the fossils, very funny waffles. The waffle. We have been finding plenty of bones in the quarry today, but there's been some weather interruptions and stuff, and the wasps have been very annoying. Yeah, lots of wasps just buzzing around, investigating everything. They're just excited we're here, I think, but they're a little bit irritating. Yeah, let me see if we've got any other questions. How long does it take to excavate a site, asks a mat scientist. It can take anything from, an hour to, well, it can take anything from a few minutes to decades. It really depends how big the site is. Many of my answers for questions like that are going to be like this while we're out here in the field, because it's always a case-by-case thing. Every site is different. If we're talking about a site like Dinosaur National Monument, the big quarry there, that literally took decades to expose all of those bones. And many of them got excavated and shipped out to different museums around the country and around the world. I think there's some of those in Europe now, too. Other sites might be just a handful of little bones on the surface that you just pick up and put into a bag and take your GPS readings and write your labels and take your site photos, and then you continue on. It might just take all of a few minutes to collect something like that. So every site is different. Every site is different. And let's see. Your survival skills must be pretty good, says Gary Ankelis. Probably not expert level, but pretty good. I get by. I would say I've been pretty good at surviving thus far, because I've managed to do it and not die for the past 12 field seasons. This is my 13th. Oh, yeah. And social or solitary wasps? I think they're social wasps. The stinging kind. Yeah. Anywho, good win streak. There you go, a mat scientist. Yes. Yeah. And Woosavision says, watching the stream makes me feel like a kid again, watching Zoo Books commercials. I'm touched. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad this is entertaining. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I'm glad you feel like you're learning something. And, I don't know. Hopefully there's a sense of adventure here, because that's certainly what we're feeling. This is a real-life adventure. But not one for pure adventure's sake. It's for science, We've got a purpose for being here. And that's a good feeling. To, know that you're contributing to something larger than yourself. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And let's see here. Scrolling down. And Jandra Ashfall, I did a live stream from Ashfall back in 2022. That's not a dinosaur site. Those are fossil rhinos and camels and horses and other critters like that from the Cenozoic. I think that's a Oligocene, so that's going to be 20 to 30 million years after the dinosaurs went extinct, except for birds. Yeah, that is a pretty cool site, and that is still being worked every single year, so you're absolutely right about that, Jandra. And it will be excavated for the next who knows how long. A cool place, Ashfall Fossil Beds. If you're ever in the state of Nebraska, try and visit. I've only been to Nebraska one time in my life, and I made sure to go there, because it's one of the coolest places in that whole part of the world. Ashfall Fossil Beds. And there you go, Ultimate Avatar. I don't have a dromaeosaur beetle ungule here, like a raptor claw, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Hanaconda wants to know, is paleontology like archaeology? And that only the people who can afford to end up doing fieldwork? It's different. We have much less funding in paleontology than archaeologists typically do. But usually archaeologists are getting paid. We're not. Everyone here is taking time off of work to be here. Or maybe they're a salaried museum employee and they're out here, like Takuya here at our site. But yeah, paleontologists are not wealthy by and large. Far from it. We're the archetypical starving scientists. Yeah. But this is such cool work, and it's such a neat opportunity that, you know, we're all making sacrifices in order to be here, for certain. And let's see. Are you allowed to keep any of the fossils you find? No. Well, we don't want to. We're not here to find fossils just because they're cool and we want to keep them. We're collecting these for scientific purposes. So every fossil that we collect here is going to go to the museum in Cincinnati. And there it will be studied. It will be, well, first it will be cleaned, glued, prepared, consolidated, and then put into the collection so it can be studied, photographed, published on. These are not like trophies or something like that. It's not something that you're going to put up on your mantelpiece. These are scientific specimens. We're doing this so we can learn about the history of life on Earth and understand our own place in that. And we're here for science. That's what it's all about. It's like Indiana Jones always said, you know, that belongs in a museum. We're taking these back to the museum because he's right. And let's see. One hot realtor says that looks like an amazing adventure. Thank you for letting Nick letting Nick be part of it. You bet. One hot realtor. You bet. Nick's been a great addition to the crew. And what's really cool is that this ceratopsian dinosaur that we're excavating right now, that he's working on right now, he was working on the same specimen back in the laboratory, back in Pittsburgh. And I don't want to get confusing here. The fossils will go to the museum in Cincinnati, but some of them are being cleaned in Pittsburgh first, because we've just got so many of them that it's kind of too much for one museum to handle. But yeah, so Nick here was working on this same exact specimen back in the lab, and now here he is digging up more of it in Wyoming. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. There's only a couple times in my life when I've been able to do that, where, you know, I was working on a specimen in the lab and then I got to go out and dig up more of it in the field. It's kind of rare, so pretty cool. Pretty cool first dinosaur dig experience. And do I ever keep some of the fossils from my own personal collection? No, Hogan, not really. I mean, I've got maybe a few bits of crocodile scute or maybe a handful of tyrannosaur teeth from when I was digging on private land out in the Judith River Formation. And these were things that were not scientifically valuable. They had like washed down a gully, so they're out of their stratigraphic context. We don't know what rock layer they were from in, so they're not scientifically useful. But yeah, you know, I'm not in it for souvenirs. You know, I'm in this for science, you know. Yeah. And your Nick's mom. Well, let me go tell him you're watching. Yeah. Yeah. Go up to the site here. Walking up this debris flow that we've created. Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Let's see, Nick, you've got more fans in chat.
Let's go.
There's somebody by the name of One Hot Realtor who claims to be your mother.
That is my mother. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
I love you. Mwah.
I'm looking to buy a house, Nick. And
Yeah. Hey.
can you let me know your mom's number?
Yeah, I will. Oh, maybe. Oh, wait. No, never mind. That's bad. No, you're not getting her number.
Oh, we are in Pittsburgh. Come on.
Anyway, we have a good time out here. But yeah. Get Nick in trouble, says Gojira, yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I know, we do get a little goofy out here. When you're out with the same group of people for, you know, days or weeks or even months, stuff gets a little loopy when you're just digging in the rock all day.
Turns into a brotherhood.
It's the
Really goofy brotherhood.
the glue.
It's the glue.
Don't sniff the glue, kids.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Jandy has a good question that Takuya can comment upon. The question is, Mosasaurus versus Elasmosaurus, which one is the scarier one in your opinion?
I would be more scared to swim with mosasaurs than elasmosaurs.
Definitely, yeah.
They have bigger mouth or bigger gape with larger teeth. Elasmosaurs were almost as big as or even longer than mosasaurs in many cases. However, they had a really small skull, up to 2 feet long, and the teeth were like pencils.
Yeah.
And they were most likely like going through the little fish or fish balls, and very graceful, swimming grazers is my depiction of elasmosaurs. So that would be my my answer. To me, like swimming with elasmosaurs is a bit like swimming with whale shark.
I like that analogy. Yeah, it's not going to hurt you. Whereas a mosasaur, if it's hungry, it might.
Great white.
Like a great white. Yeah, I like that. And do we actually have evidence that mosasaurs ate sharks?
It's not conclusive because the challenge is that whenever we find mosasaur skeletons or fossils, they tend to be found with teeth of the sharks that scavenged on the carcass of the mosasaur.
Yeah.
It is sometimes it is often very hard to tell apart whether these were from the sharks that were ingested by the mosasaur or the sharks that scavenged on the mosasaur after it died. So that is still inconclusive to this date.
Gotcha. That's an excellent answer. Yeah. I probably would have just said like, oh, they probably ate them, but I like that you've got an actually evidence-based answer here. Just consummate scientist, Takuya. Yeah, absolutely. So Takuya is one of the world experts on mosasaurs, and we're really lucky to have him here. Yeah. Quite a few papers. You should check them out. Yeah. And let's see, who else is in here? Or I'll get out of your guys' hair for right now. Yeah. And Tanessa says, as someone who went to school for archaeology, can't even tell you how many times I heard archaeology. Cool, I love dinosaurs. Yeah, we get the same thing as paleontologists. It's like, oh, you dig up dinosaurs? That must be so cool to be an archaeologist. Yeah, it's, oh man. But yeah. There's a lot more archaeologists in the world than there are paleontologists, especially dinosaur paleontologists. Because paleontology is the study of fossils in general. Dinosaurs are just a small part of that. Even though that's what we're doing here, most paleontologists don't work on dinosaurs. They work on other kinds of fossil organisms. Everything from fossil trees to fossil whales to pterosaurs to trilobites to bacteria. Paleontology is the study of fossils in general, not just dinosaurs. Yeah. I don't know why it is that the general public hears archaeology and they think dinosaurs, or they hear dinosaurs and they think archaeology. I'm trying to change that in my own small little way, trying to contribute to, people understanding the real terminology here. The channel name is called Paleontologizing, But even so, we still get people who come in and they go, oh, hi, Paleontologizing. How cool to be an archaeologist, So, there's a lot of work left to be done. A lot of people to educate, a lot of, yeah. That's what we're trying to do here. Yeah, let's see here. Lonit says hi from Mexico. Hello from Southwest Wyoming. It's good to have you here. And what does he think of Kronosaurus? Well, Kronosaurus is not a mosasaur dinosaur, Dave, as you know. Maybe we'll ask Takuya in a few minutes, but I want to let them concentrate up there. Yeah. And Xander Jiggle says, a friend of mine is a paleontologist who gets to look for ancient mollusks up in the Arctic Circle. Very cool, Xander Jiggles. Very cool. Yeah, see? Paleontology, not just dinosaurs. Far from it. All kinds of different critters. All kinds of different ancient organisms. And Disc Bika says, is your team excited for the new Walking with Dinosaurs show, or will it be too elementary to watch? I mean, we'll see it, but we were in it. Last summer, that's the reason. I'm a little ticked, honestly. That's the reason I wasn't able to live stream in September from near Moab, Utah. I was supposed to go out there. I was really excited to be digging out there for about another month and live streaming it, and I couldn't because they were filming there. The BBC was out there, and they had some sort of a, like, over-the-top contract. Their cameras on site. Not even little old me, you know, with this little camera. So, a little ticked about it. But a bunch of my colleagues were on camera, and you'll see them when it comes out. And we're getting an Octavius King raid. Well, excellent. Beautiful. Octi, I hope you had an excellent stream. Hope it was really good. How are you doing? Howdy, howdy. Yeah. And oh yeah, Octi, how are the rats doing? And how was your stream? I hope everything was great. How do you know where to start digging? Says ZC Serial. I mean, we dig where the fossils are. It's as simple as that. No, this is one of our most common questions that we get here. I think for whatever reason, a lot of people kind of assume that we just find some random spot and start digging and hope to find fossils, or that we somehow have some kind of magical imaging technology that allows us to see under the ground where the fossils are or something. No. The way that we find fossils is with the old Mark I eyeball. You walk along, you look at the ground, you look for bits of fossil bone that are eroding out of the surface. So this is how this site was originally found, is that a paleontologist named Nick Longrich from the University of Bath in England, he was walking up this hillside and he found bits of ceratopsian frill, or ceratopsian bone, coming out of here. And he recognized them as such. And he followed that up to where he thought they were coming out. We did a bit of looking around, but you got to find the source for where this stuff is spilling out of. And then we found more of the skeleton in here. That's what we're digging up right now. So, yeah, it's called prospecting. You might walk across a whole landscape like this. You might walk 10 or 20 miles before you find some fossil bone eroding out that looks promising. Then you dig in and you hope that more is in there. We've been really lucky in that, going out prospecting, we've been able to find a bunch of stuff, a lot of new sites. And hopefully this summer we'll get to find some more too. They've got some new crew members showing up who, they've got a lot of experience prospecting in this area. They found sites in previous years, and hopefully they'll find some new sites this year. Cross your fingers. And I just randomly found you, says FK. FKN Ruby. Oh, this is so cool. Thank you, Ruby. Appreciate that. Yeah, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's great to have you here. And Het Spookja says, Paleontologizing in chat. Greetings from Belgium. Greetings from western Wyoming out here in the middle of nowhere. Beautiful country, full of fossils. Happy to be here. I'm happy you're here. Welcome. And Big Mo 9, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that very much. Thanks for supporting this whole endeavor. Appreciate you. And Angie Anemo says, I found you from the Twitch homepage. Well, excellent. I'm so glad you're here. And any idea how articulated the current dig is looking and like it'll be? So this is disarticulated. This specimen up here, this dinosaur fell apart after it died. So we've got bits and pieces scattered all over the place. And it looks like so far most of the bones that we have are skull bones from the frill, but we've got some ribs and some other things we don't know what they are yet. We might not know what they are at all until we get them back to the laboratory and get them cleaned. There's always a lot of uncertainty when you're out there doing the work in the field as these things are coming out of the ground. Field IDs are very preliminary. Because we don't want to take away too much of the rock. You don't want to destabilize the fossil and have it destroyed. You want to keep enough rock around it that it stays in place. Then you put a protective field jacket on it, kind of a cocoon made out of plaster and burlap. You take it out in that cocoon back to the laboratory, and then you open it up, you clean it, and you hopefully identify what you've got. And let's see, fairly high in the IRL categories. That would be good for attracting traffic. Thanks, Crimson Carnotaurus. We're pretty high here in real life, too. 7,000 feet in the air out here in western Wyoming. Up in the high desert. 7,000 feet of elevation. 7,000 feet above sea level. That's like... what is that? That's like 2,200 meters, something like that. Yep. And Dubious Ein Shipkoff says, how long have you been working in paleontology for? It kind of depends how you count it. So I've been working with fossils in a museum setting with other paleontologists since I was in high school. I won't tell you how long ago that was, because like all successful Twitch streamers, I am of course 21 years old and single. Wink. But yeah, I've been doing paleontology, I guess, since I was in high school. I was really lucky in that there was a fossil museum within travel distance from my home growing up. So early on in high school, I started volunteering at the University of California Museum of Paleontology in Berkeley. I was able to either get a ride to the train station and then take the train there, or take the bus, or, you know, found various ways of getting to the train station so I could take the train to Berkeley and volunteer. So pretty much every weekday during the summers when I wasn't in school, I'd go off to the museum and help out there, hang out with paleontologists, help with cleaning fossils and organizing things in the collections and all of that good stuff. You know, talking with researchers and helping conduct research. It was an excellent opportunity for a budding scientist. And that's my best piece of advice I can give anybody who's watching who might want to become a paleontologist. Get involved in a museum. Hang out with paleontologists. You never know what doors it will open for you, like what new opportunities will arise from that. That's how I first got started back in high school. And here I am today. So, yeah, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. And Carlair says, there's no such thing as a live dinosaur? Carlair, you're hearing some of them right now, literally. There's a meadowlark over there that's been making some beautiful music. Birds are living dinosaurs. I know you're making a joke like, oh, yeah, dinosaurs are extinct, but dinosaurs aren't actually extinct. Birds are living dinosaurs. And we've got over 9,000 species of living bird. Bird species outnumber mammal species like 2 to 1. There's like 4,000 species of mammal. There's over 9,000 species of living bird. All of them are dinosaurs. Chickens, parakeets, pigeons, penguins, ostriches, cassowaries, pelicans, they're all dinosaurs. And don't just take my word for it. Ask any paleontologist, ask any ornithologist, any bird scientist. They'll tell you the same thing. Birds are living dinosaurs. So, yeah. But the title is Live Dinosaur Dig because you're watching live and we're digging up a dinosaur here. So, yeah. And Big Mo says, is buying dinosaur bone legal or not? It depends where it's from. Different places around the world have got different laws around this. I would say that in general, buying dinosaur fossil bone is, even if it's legal, it's not always the right thing to do. Because dinosaurs tend to be scientifically important. And if they're being sold on the open market or on the black market, that usually means they're not available for scientists to study. We don't have the funding to buy stuff like that, usually. It's a lot cheaper, more affordable, I'll say, to go out and dig them up ourselves. And that way we can ensure that we've got proper data associated with the fossils as well. Because a dinosaur bone by itself, robbed of its context, is worthless. Scientifically worthless. So if a dinosaur fossil gets excavated and you don't know where it came from, what age rocks it came out of, you know, it might as well be a paperweight. You've destroyed its scientific value if you haven't recorded the surrounding lithology, stratigraphy. If you don't know how old the rocks are that it came out of or from where on earth it's from, you know, it's worthless. That's why gathering data at a site like this is so important. And we spent much of our morning doing that. We've got that big, see that yellow square up there? That's our grid square. And so we use that for kind of a Cartesian coordinate system to map out exactly where each of these bones, how these are all arranged, and then we'll be taking a SED log and doing stratigraphy here too, looking at the changes in the rock, in the quarry itself, and then above and below, you know, measuring out how like how thick these different layers of rock are. That's really, really important, because we can take that and we can compare it to other sites in this area, and then we can figure out exactly how old these rocks are when this dinosaur was buried. That makes sense. It's important stuff. And can you take a bone home just as a thing to say, hey, I dug this up? No, we don't do that, because these are all scientifically important. Any time that would be spent collecting a bone like that for personal gratification is time that we're not spending actually collecting data and finding fossils for science. That's what we're here for. You know, this isn't some sort of a vacation or something like that. We're out here collecting data and doing science. You know, we're scientists here. This isn't, you know, this isn't some lark that we're on. We're doing science. And there you go. Yeah, provenance. Exactly, Technessa. Yeah. Tenessa. Telling where the item came from, which layer is in, where it's around. It's useless. Exactly, Tenessa. Yep. Yeah. And Burley Earl says science. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Big Mo says, how much does an average scientific expedition cost with a full team on? I don't know about the average scientific expedition. I'm sure the average scientific expedition is a lot more expensive than what we've got going on here. So, paleontology tends to be a very underfunded science. Our budget for this season is, I think, a little under $20,000 for 1 month of field work, and like vehicle rentals, food, fuel, supplies, digging equipment, rock saws, all kinds of stuff like that. And a bunch of that money actually came from our viewers here on Twitch, so thank you for that. You know who you are, those who have contributed. Really appreciate it. Yeah, whereas you go to, in other scientific fields, not necessarily fieldwork, but like laboratory experiments, they might be much, much, much more expensive than that. Like to run a single test in genetics, for instance, might cost like $50K. That's more than a month's worth of fieldwork out here with all of these volunteers, all of this food, all the supplies and gear and everything else. So yeah, paleontology really is one of the most economical of the sciences. We do so much with so little money. And Angie Nemo says, to be honest, I didn't even classify paleontology as a science in my head. What do you mean? I classified it as history. No, so history refers to, like, human history. Like when we say, since the dawn of history, that typically refers to, like, the invention of writing, like recorded history. So when you think history, think stuff written down. The stuff is not written down. These are, you know, fossils. So yeah, paleontology is very much a science. And what we could talk about what denotes science versus non-science, but the typical answer is a science is a field in which you are gathering data and testing hypotheses in a systematic way. That's what paleontology is. You know, we collect these fossils. That's basically our raw data. We study that, we form hypotheses, and we test them by finding new fossils or by studying them in different ways, having various analyses that we conduct on the fossils. So it's very, very much a scientific field. It's not always like the, you know, lab coats and beakers kind of science. You know, we're not pouring colorful liquids from one flask into another. Yeah, but it's very much science. So what is natural history then? Natural history is basically a bunch of different sciences. So natural history is zoology, it's botany, it's paleontology, it's geology. Astronomy could also be considered natural history. So it's history in a different sense of the word, you know? It's not history like a field. Natural history is kind of like an antiquated term that just means like, you know, studying how stuff in nature came to be. Does that make sense? It's like looking at the past as a key to the present and vice versa. That makes sense. Yeah. And Gary and Kellis says natural history. No, it's not a branch of philosophy. Or at least, oh goodness, we could get into a big discussion about this because science used to be considered a branch of philosophy. And some philosophers still consider science to be a branch of philosophy. Like how some philosophers consider mathematics to be an offshoot of philosophy. Philosophers love to claim different branches of science and other knowledge fields and be like, that's just applied philosophy. And they might be right. I don't know. I don't have a horse in that fight. No use arguing about these things oftentimes. It doesn't really get you anywhere. What's important is to go out and do the work and make discoveries, like we're doing here. Yeah. But yeah, anywho. And science is about facts? I mean, yeah, it's about testing things. But you could make a strong argument. I've heard convincing arguments that science is kind of a branch of philosophy and that there's like an underlying natural philosophy there, like the philosophy of naturalism. That like, yeah, there is observable reality and we can find out about it by doing science. Like, that in itself is a philosophical statement. So, yeah. And Exclusives says, you can really see the passion you have for this. I find it very inspiring. Thank you for streaming. Hopefully I will find my passion like this. I hope you do. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Kind words, and I'm glad that this is like, palpable. So much about modern life, working for the man, it's about like, it's trying to kill people's passion, Enthusiasm and passion are not always good for business, They don't make the rich richer. But that's essential for being content in your life, having a reason to get up in the morning, living a purposeful existence, following your passion. Most people don't have the opportunity to do that. I consider myself extraordinarily lucky that I've been able to follow my passion in life and make my living doing that. And it's a privilege to be able to share that with you. And I hope not to be all like, oh, I'm so great or anything. I'm not saying that. It's just more people should have the opportunity to do this. And I really wish we lived in a world that was... I wish society was organized more around providing meaning to people, letting people follow their passions, let people do what's important to them, things that make the world better, rather than the way that society is organized now. Yeah, I'm glad you're along for the ride. I'm glad you're watching, and I hope that this is inspiring to, in some sense, to people. Like, find something that you're passionate about and follow it. Take it as far as you possibly can. That's a way to find contentment in life, I think. At least in the sense that that's how I've been able to do that. I've been very lucky to be able to pursue this, and here we are. And Insert X user says, I always wanted to be a paleontologist growing up. My parents convinced me it was a dead field, unfortunately. Seems they were incorrect. I mean, it's not a way to get rich, but if you want to lead a meaningful life and, make a lasting impact upon the world, hopefully make the world a better place in some small way, paleontology is a great way to do it. It can be tough to make a living in this field. I make my living through live streams, for instance. I've had to carve out this niche for myself, but it's been going well so far, and thank you for everybody who makes this possible. But paleontology is definitely not a dead field in a scientific sense. Oh boy, no. Dinosaur paleontology in particular is in a golden age at present. Like I was saying earlier, on average, over the past decade, a new dinosaur species or genus has been published once every 9 days. Every 9 days on average, we've got a new dinosaur being published. There are more dinosaur paleontologists working in the world than have ever been in the past. And we've just got new discoveries being made every day, new publications coming out left and right. It's like Jim Kirkland says. You'll meet him later in the summer if you haven't yet. He says, these are the good old days, right now, for paleontology. And we're part of that, digging up this new dinosaur here. We get to contribute to that. There have been no dinosaurs named from the Almond Formation. We're working on that. We're finding new stuff. We're breaking new ground. Like, nobody's ever done this before. This is exciting stuff. And a really dull gamer says, why is Twitch's algorithm finally working for me? Well, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's great to have you here. For you and anybody else just stumbling in, my name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm here on Twitch doing some good old-fashioned science outreach. Talking about fossils, showing you how we dig them up out of the ground, telling you why they're important, answering your questions, just doing whatever I can to try and, make this relevant to people and interesting and to show you how cool this stuff is. So I'm really glad you're here. And every 9 days, that's a lot of splitters to science streams. Some of those that's splitting happening, taxonomic splitting. But a lot of it is just brand new discoveries. It's like, here's a new kind of dinosaur from a new place. No one's ever explored this region before, and bow, there it is. Critters like I mentioned earlier, Jucapil from South America. This really weird armored dinosaur, or it might even be a marginocephalian dinosaur, we're really not sure. Sometimes you just get weird things that come out of left field. And it's like, that is 1,000,000% a new critter. Yeah. And Just Jay says, what you're doing is awesome. Man, never saw anybody stream about this. Welcome. Yeah. This is kind of one of the first ever live stream dinosaur digs, I guess. I'm going to try and stream every day this month while I'm out here in Wyoming. Up until June 30th. Broadcasting to you live via satellite dish. Satellite. So, this is communicating with satellites up in space. Solar power is not working particularly well at the moment because it's so cloudy. But there is our router and our solar generator. And we are running at a deficit. Oh boy, we were like 70-something this morning. And we're at 54% right now. It's nice to have the clouds, but it's not so great for generating electricity. So everything's a trade-off. And Marky DB says, hello from Kansas. I love walking urban creeks and finding tons of fossils and arrowheads. Very cool. Marky, that's really neat. Kansas is a wonderful place for finding fossils. Around the same time that these rocks were being laid down here in Wyoming, out east in Kansas, it was all underwater. Kansas used to be underneath an ocean. All kinds of cool critters swimming around like plesiosaurs and mosasaurs, great big sharks and largish squids and stuff, ammonites everywhere, pterosaurs flying overhead and diving down in the water to catch fishes. We find their fossils today in places like Kansas and Nebraska from the ancient Western Interior Seaway when that whole region was underwater. And at that time, when Kansas was underwater, this was beachfront property here in Wyoming. We were at sea level here 70 million years ago. It is not like that now. This area looks very, very different because a lot can happen in 70 million years. This is now about 7,000 feet in the air, 7,000 feet above sea level, because you had mountain building that occurred and just pushed up this whole region. Pretty cool to think about. And insert X user, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that. Angie Anemo says, do you think there are cool fossils in North Carolina? I'm sure there are cool fossils in North Carolina. You should figure out what your state fossil is there, because I bet you have one. I don't think there are any dinosaurs that have been found in North Carolina yet, but you'll probably have cool Paleozoic fossils. The whole Appalachian region like that, a lot of those rocks were a lot of those rocks were laid down during the Paleozoic era, before the dinosaurs. So you might get trilobites and bivalves, brachiopods, crinoids, cool critters like that in North Carolina. But I don't know. I've never been to North Carolina, so I couldn't tell you. Yeah. Let's see here. And then Sheen says, hello from Spain, especially from Valencia. I like all this world, and I like reading more and more about dinosaurs. Well, then Sheen, you might know already that Spain is one of the new great places to find dinosaurs. I was talking about this with Jim Kirkland the other day, state paleontologist of Utah. There were, I think 6 or 7 new dinosaurs from Spain published just last year. And there's, I think, 3 or 4 from this year so far that have been published from Spain. There's beautiful desert regions in Spain where you get lots of dinosaur fossils because you have rocks from the right age, from the age of dinosaurs that are exposed on the surface. Not covered by trees, not covered by grass, just beautiful desert with exposed rock full of dinosaur fossils. And for a long time, Spain didn't have anybody out looking for fossils there. I guess under Franco, academic pursuits were very much discouraged. But now there are dinosaur paleontologists in Spain, and they're really starting to unveil the wonderful fossil heritage of that country. In Spain and in Portugal as well. All along the Iberian Peninsula, lots of new dinosaurs being discovered, being studied, being published. So it's an exciting part of the world for dinosaur science. Welcome to Paleontologizing, by the way. It's good to have you here. And Salty Murloc says, hey from the UK. Hey from Wyoming. How you doing? Any cool dinosaurs being found over here, do you know? A few, yeah. Most of them are coming out of the Isle of Wight nowadays. There have been, oh goodness, I want to say half a dozen new dinosaurs from the Isle of Wight over the past year. Quite a few, yeah. Dinosaur paleontology started in England back in the 1820s. Sir Richard Owen, a famous British naturalist, was the guy who coined the word dinosaur back in 1842. So that's where dinosaur paleontology was birthed, was in jolly old England. We don't find too many fossils in England nowadays. There was a lot of like digging and quarrying, stone quarrying and coal mining and stuff like that in England back in the day. Not so much of that nowadays, but you still have dinosaur fossils being found in places like the Isle of Wight. So check that out if you're interested.
Ontogeny.
And scrolling. You do have some dinosaurs there in Australia, Thelonious Monk. Absolutely. Some good ones, too. Dinosaur Dave, one of members of our community, has been doing this big road trip across Australia for the past, couple months, visiting all these different museums and fossil sites, and it's been really cool to see his progress through that. And they named Cretaceous 200 years ago. Was that in 1824? Jim, interesting. Maybe you mean 200 years ago more broadly. But everybody, that's Jim Kirkland there in the chat. Hey, Jim. It's good to see you. We're digging at the Ceratopsian site right now. Rather, they are, and I'm yapping away, answering questions and stuff. But, yeah. But yeah, Cretaceous, that comes from, I believe that comes from a German word, like Kreide, meaning chalk. I think that's the root of the word Cretaceous. It means chalky. It might be like a Latinization of the German word for chalk. But yeah, I don't know who it was who coined that term. It might have been one of those early English geologists. Somebody like William Strata Smith or somebody like that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Smith. Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. Agassiz wasn't English. He was Swiss? Swedish? Louis Agassiz? Anywho. Indeed, White Cliffs. There you go, Jim. Yeah. Excellent. And how long do you do at a dig site on an average day? Says Ava Little. So we usually work from about 9 or 10 a.m. until about 5 or 6 p.m. And that's what we're doing today. It is just past 5 p.m. here in Wyoming, and so we're going to think about wrapping up before too long. We thought earlier that we might have to run because we were getting some rain coming over the horizon, and that might get us. That does look like rain. We'll see. Live broadcast, anything can happen, especially in the field. Yeah, but it's pretty much like a 9 to 5, like Lenina said. Yeah. And then we go back to camp. You know, we organize the fossils, we make dinner, we clean things up, do the dishes, hang out, and talk about fossil science. Yeah. And have I heard about the Wawel dragon? Never heard of that, but silosaurs I've definitely heard of. These are enigmatic Triassic animals. May or may not be dinosaurs. They're either very dinosaur-like, non-dinosaur dinosauromorphs, or maybe they're basal ornithischians or something. We're still figuring silosaurs out. Kind of exciting. Those answers are still working on them. And are dinosaurs fossilized the same as wood? Says Marquide. That's a good question. I'm not sure how to answer that. So when dinosaur bone or wood gets fossilized, there are, I'm going to say it's different from wood in some key ways, actually. So fossilization occurs when a critter gets buried and parts of it get permineralized. There's minerals in the groundwater that seep inside, and they replace some of the squishy stuff, the stuff that would normally rot away. They replace that. The groundwater replaces that, or the surrounding rock might leach minerals into it in order to fossilize it and preserve it. I was talking with Glenn Storrs about this the other day. I asked him what his take on fossilization was, and like how much of a given dinosaur fossil is actually the original bone, like the hydroxyapatite, the mineral part of the bone that you have inside of you in your bones right now. And he says, like, a good part of that will be original, but it'll be altered, obviously, by the fossilization process. With trees, like a fossilized wood or petrified wood, I don't know how much of that is actually the original material. It's probably much more replaced than with your typical dinosaur bone. Because, wood rots faster than, say, bone might. I think it's got less like original mineral composition than your given bone will. But that said, I am not an expert in diagenesis. I'm not an expert in the fossilization process. There are other people who could answer this question for you with more thoroughness and more accuracy than I can. So that's the best I can do for you right there. I hope it's good enough. Diagonal is one of those people, actually. Diagonal says bone is largely mineral to start with. Wood is mostly organic to start with. So the way they fossilize will be different. Thanks, Diagonal. Yeah. And Jim says silicification and permineralization in general are similar in bone and wood. You might ask different experts and get slightly different answers, but, they'll be answering the question in slightly different ways. Yeah. And let's see here. And very interesting, thank you, says Marky. I'm glad. And Doom Guy says, hey everyone, is Dakotaraptor a real genus or a chimera? Good question. We know part of it is a chimera. Like, we know that they mixed turtle bits in by mistake. There was a turtle entoplastron that they thought was a furcula, a wishbone. So we know it's a chimera, at least in that sense. But I have my doubts about it being valid. Yeah, for various reasons. But we won't go into detail about that right now. Just, be a little wary of Dakotaraptor. Don't get me started. And Lord French Fries says, I didn't know this stream, but looks extremely interesting. Thank you. I'm an archaeologist. We have another archaeologist in chat. Holy cow. I'm not an archaeologist myself. I'm a paleontologist. But I think this goes to show how much more common archaeologists are than paleontologists. Archaeologists are people who study human artifacts. And sometimes human remains too, but mostly human artifacts. Different man-made stuff, yeah. Think about it this way. Archaeology is arrowheads and pottery, pyramids and such. Paleontology is fossils. Trilobites, plant fossils, foraminifera, dinosaurs, things like that. There was an old movie from 1969, The Valley of Guanji, that had a paleontologist character in it. And the main character meets him for the first time and goes, "Oh, so you're one of those archaeology fellas?" And the paleontologist goes, "No, paleontologist. We dig deeper." Which is kind of true in a sense, at least in the sense that our stuff is in rock. Archaeologists are working in soil or alluvium or modern material like that. What we would call overburden as paleontologists. We're digging in bedrock, like up here in the quarry. We originally find the fossils on the surface. We find bits that are eroding out, but they're eroding out of the rock. And then we got to dig into the rock itself in order to be able to find more of it, which is exactly what we're doing here. Yeah. And there you go, Ava Little. That's a pretty good answer. Yeah. And that movie, lol. There you go, Defies Light. Welcome, welcome. It is, it holds up in a certain way. The Valley of Guanji, entertaining film. Doesn't get enough credit, I think. It's kind of a classic. I like that movie a lot. The Valley of Guanji, 1969. And were there large dromaeosaurs in the Hell Creek, though? Doom Guy wants to know. I would be kind of surprised if there weren't, to be honest. Maybe not as large as, like, Dakota Raptor has been reported to be. But, I don't know. Just based on context, everything gets big in the Hell Creek. Pachycephalosaurus is the largest of the pachycephalosaurs. Triceratops is arguably the largest of the ceratopsids. Tyrannosaurus, arguably the largest of the tyrannosaurs. Again and again, more and more and more. Ankylosaurus is one of the largest of the ankylosaurs, if not the very largest. Edmontosaurus, one of the largest of the hadrosaurs. So it would be kind of strange if the dromaeosaur we had there wasn't one of the bigger dromaeosaurs from the late Cretaceous. It's not going to be the biggest. That honor, I think, still goes to Utah Raptor of the earliest Cretaceous period, or almost earliest. Cedar Mountain Formation. So yeah, I would be kind of surprised if there wasn't a big dromaeosaur there, but it's probably not Utah Raptor sized. Dromaeosaurs, for whatever reason, don't seem to trend larger over time. It's kind of the opposite. Utah Raptor is one of the earliest ones we have, if not the earliest. That's also one of the biggest, if not the biggest. So yeah. Jim could tell you all about that, though. And how often are paleontologists away from their home? Well, for me, every day, I make sure I go out for a walk. I don't ever want to stay cooped up inside the house all day long. But if you're talking about field work, it depends on the paleontologist. There are some paleontologists who never do any field work. We call them lab lubbers sometimes, affectionately. And there are some paleontologists that might spend 6 months out of every year in the field. It all kind of depends, This year I'm spending about 2 months away from home in the field, and that's about what I'm used to. Historically, that's about what I've done in the past. 2 or maybe 3 months out of the year I'll spend in the field, far away from home. Field work is really important to me. It's my whole year kind of revolves around that. So it's something I'm really keen to do every year. And here, got dust on here. Crimson Carnotaurus says, do paleontologists who specialize in mammals in later periods also have some skills relating to archaeology, since they will probably encounter human artifacts like hunting weapons? That's really rare. Even at a lot of Pleistocene sites, so even in those sites that are the same age as like the first people, from like the last few thousand years here in North America, you know. You might find Pleistocene fossils that are like 14,000 years or older, younger, and those are critters that would have encountered humans potentially. It's pretty rare that you actually find evidence of human hunting and stuff like that. It happens. It happens a fair bit, but as a percentage of Pleistocene critters, very few of the ones that we find were like hunted or butchered by humans. Yeah. But that is kind of maybe where paleontology and archaeology sort of intersect a little bit. I don't know a great deal about this, though, so there are other paleontologists who work in the Pleistocene who'd be able to give you a much better answer than I can. So, apologies. That's outside my area of expertise. I'm a dinosaur guy, you know. Let's see. And Tanessa says, has the Triceratops Torosaurus debate been settled? No, that's still very much something that we argue about. I might be the only person on this crew who really suspects that Torosaurus and Triceratops are the same animal. That's definitely a minority position among dinosaur workers right now. But I can tell you, I've dug up a lot of Triceratops, and some of them had fenestrated frills. So, great question, by the way. It is still very much a topic of debate. We're still working on that. And I'm excited to see where that goes. I just wish we had some specimens that would finally get published, because I feel like there's some smoking guns in there, and there's some ceratopsian workers who are just sitting on those. And we're mixing our metaphors here, but yeah, shouldn't be sitting on a smoking gun. And Dr. Hub says, Pleistocene paleontologist here. Even at Rancho La Brea, there's only one pit with human remains and archaeological material. Yeah. That's the one with the La Brea woman, right? About 14,000 years old. I remember reading about that when I was a kid. Yeah, not very common that you find human stuff mixed in with, even with Pleistocene mammals. But it does happen. And there you go, Tanessa. That makes a lot of sense, too. Yeah. And look at the differences in the nares. Well, Jim, I would say that that's stratigraphic, too. Heterochrony plays a big role in this. But we'll talk all about this in July, I'm sure. Yeah. And Potato from Hell 666 says, do you like dinosaurs? Do I like what? What? Dinosaur? I don't know what that is. Potato from Hell. Of course I like dinosaurs. I've devoted my life to their study. That's what I'm out here doing. So absolutely. As a dinosaur paleontologist, I better like dinosaurs. You know? Let's see. Frisco Chris says, how do you think dinosaurs became, I assume you mean extinct? A pandemic seems like the most likely scenario, correct? No. As far as we know, pandemics don't really tend to drive species into extinction. They can decrease their numbers by a lot, but it's not very common that like a disease wipes out an entire species, let alone maybe 80% of the species that exist on Earth at a given time. At the time that the dinosaurs went extinct, except for birds, because birds are living dinosaurs, so dinosaurs never went completely extinct. But most of them did, 66 million years ago. And at that same time, you have all of these other critters that also are going extinct too. Plesiosaurs and mosasaurs, ammonites, and various other marine reptiles and critters like that. You know, animals in the oceans. And then on land, you've got the dinosaurs that go extinct, except for birds. You've got pterosaurs. You've got like 90% of mammal species go extinct. It's like 95% of bird species or something crazy like that. You know, it seems like everybody big and important and interesting goes extinct at the end of the Cretaceous, including a bunch of plants, too. All at the same time, within a really, really brief geological window, like definitely less than 1 million years, maybe less than a few hundred years, maybe just a few years. All of these critters go extinct, all of these different organisms on land and in the oceans. And there's a few different hypotheses for what happened. There's an old idea that maybe it was volcanism was the primary driver, that like massive volcanic eruptions changed the atmosphere, changed the climate, and then all these critters just blink out of existence. Although, I've got my doubts about that, and the general consensus has shifted to a much more rapid cause for extinction, rather than like slow volcanic eruptions, instead an asteroid impact. We know that the big bolide, big object from space, crashed into Earth in the Gulf of Mexico 66 million years ago. So we've got like a smoking gun right there. We have the crater, it's from the right time, and we've got a layer of iridium all around the globe. It's a really rare material. It's rare on the Earth's surface, very common in asteroids, meteorites, things like that. So we know that there is something big, an asteroid, a meteor, probably not a comet, probably something big and rocky, probably an asteroid, about the size of San Francisco, that smashed into the Earth and caused a lot of ecological devastation. The growing consensus is that that is what caused the extinction event. It was an asteroid. Try not to have my lips suffer a catastrophe here too. Got to make sure I use my sunscreen lip balm stuff. Don't want to get my lips sunburned like last year. That was not fun. And Crimson Carnotaurus, even if the asteroid strike didn't happen, dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus and Triceratops would still be extinct by now with possible new dinosaurs. Oh yeah, well I mean, does a creature actually go extinct if it leaves descendants? If it's part of a surviving lineage? You know, we could argue about that. But, yeah, there's no reason to think that we would be here today if that asteroid hadn't hit. Dinosaurs, non-bird dinosaurs would still be doing their thing. We've got every indication that that would have, at least in my opinion. You know, dinosaurs survived all kinds of catastrophic events throughout the Mesozoic. And, yeah, they got almost completely wiped out by that asteroid, which was truly devastating. Only a few species of dinosaur managed to survive. Those were a few species of bird. And now they've diversified into the over 9,000 species of bird that we have today. Cool to think about. We wouldn't know this if, you know, we didn't have paleontologists going out here doing field work, conducting research, all that stuff. The perspective that the science gives us about the history of life on Earth it's invaluable, you know? Think how much richer your life is that you can know something about the critters that were here on Earth long before we evolved. We can have any understanding at all about Earth's prehistory. Yeah, this is priceless to have that kind of knowledge. That's why paleontology is such an important field, in my opinion. And let's see. Speaking of extinctions, what caused the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event? Doom Guy, that's a great question. I don't know if we have a strong consensus on that one yet. The climate changed in some kind of way, but why? I don't know. I don't know. Jim, Paleo Jim here, was telling us the other day that there's new evidence about the Jurassic Cretaceous extinction event, which appears to have actually been more abrupt than anybody realized. It's not like just a slow gradation from one dinosaur fauna to another. It was more rapid, and that turnover event was like, bam, a bunch of guys just go extinct. There's apparently some evidence that might have also been an asteroid or some other kind of bolide like that. Some impact from outer space. And probably not nearly as severe as at the end of the Cretaceous, but we'll be talking about that later in the summer, so stay tuned. Central Atlantic Magmatic Province. What's that, Ken? Yeah. And Gravity Stream is going well. We had some technical hiccups earlier, but one of the batteries died, and I had to swap it out real quick. Had to plug it in, but we're doing well right now, for certain. And that is interesting. Tanessa, you're just full of information here. I love this. Welcome to the community. Yucatan area is primarily limestone, which is porous and doesn't support surface water. Along the edge of the impact heart, yeah, you've got the cenotes that collect fresh water and provide drinking water not only for humans, for all kinds of critters. Yeah, pretty neat, right? So that extinction event, that impact was, it's been good for people and other critters there today, but also that paved the way for us to evolve in the first place. I would not be streaming to you here today if it hadn't been for that asteroid impact. There would be no Twitch.tv, there would be no internet, there would be no computers, there would be no human beings if that hadn't have happened. The history of life on Earth is full of all of these like weird freak events that kind of change everything afterward. That was one of those. Really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? I need to drink some more water. And camp seems to be the consensus. It's moving as far as the Jurassic extinction event. Is that like a camp? I don't know what that's an acronym for. Is it basically a seaway regression kind of a thing? Or, it must have been volcanic eruptions, magmatic province. I can't open links from this app, but thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. I'll have to look into that, because I will get that question in the future. Yeah. I'll come up here in a little bit and show you what's going on at the site right now. But let me drink some water and readjust this maybe so it doesn't fall off. Let's see. What's the coolest discovery you've made while out in the field? Joltan, I found a new ceratopsian dinosaur in the Judith River Formation in 2012. That's probably my most exciting find. Hopefully it's going to get published as a new species at some point. But it's been 12 years so far, almost 12 years. I found it in late June of 2012. All right. So they're doing some mapping up here right now. I'll show you that. And Skythew says, when did you start being a paleontologist? That's a good question. I don't know. My kind of like litmus test for being a paleontologist is doing paleontology, conducting research or fieldwork and publishing. I started doing that, probably around 2012, I guess. Like, all those pieces combined. Nice.
So should the frill piece be number 7? Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then you'll
So you're witnessing some of the documentation that we do at the site right now.
So this is 50.
We take very, very detailed notes, create quarry maps. We've got like a specimen log right there. I want to emphasize that, despite what you may have seen on TV, dinosaur paleontology isn't treasure hunting. This is a scientific endeavor. We collect a lot of data here. How you doing, Cameron?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Yeah. Good day at Turtle Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
We're just tearing through one of the bone layers. Found some more.
More bowfin?
Yeah, more bowfin.
Nice.
Vertebrae.
More amid vertebrae. Nice. Any more teeth?
A couple teeth. Yeah. No
Nice.
amid teeth, but more other fish teeth.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
And a number of gar scales. Can't get enough of those things.
Oh yeah. Shoot. We go way back, me and Gar Scales. Yeah.
Good. Both of them? Yep. Great.
Miss Capri Kel says, this is also what I love to see, true scientific process. Oh yeah. You're getting it straight from the source here. Unfiltered, live.
Slightly.
What's that?
Slightly filtered.
Slightly filtered. Yeah, true. Family friendly. No cussing. Thank you everybody for being so good about that. We can get a little salty out here in the field. That's how it goes, but we try and make it a little bit more tame for you at home. Yeah. And gar as in the fish? Absolutely, Hanaconda. Yeah, yeah. So gar, they're actually a fairly ancient group. They go back to, I think, the Jurassic is when they originate. There's a really cool paper that came out about gar a month or two ago, saying that yes, indeed, they are true living fossils in the sense that they actually have a really slow rate of evolution. It's not just that they look superficially similar. The gar that are alive today look superficially similar to the ones that lived in the Cretaceous. They actually are really similar genetically. At least that's what we think, because the two living genera of gar, Lepisosteus and Atracosteus, they've got, like, they can still interbreed. Even though they diverged way back in the Cretaceous, they can still interbreed, which is nuts. It shows that they've been evolving really, really slowly. Gar are such neat fish. They really are.
Yeah, you were right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rib's okay.
It was okay.
It's glued.
Lots going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of moving parts.
I didn't mention we found more turtle fragments at Turtle Hill.
Oh, Turtle Hill living up to its name. Nice. Do you know what kind of turtle? Or trionychid? Or? Huh.
One was actually working on the fragment, it wasn't me.
Oh, nice. Gotcha.
No. I don't think that's
I think there are 3 takeaways that you should live by
What's that?
after doing paleontology.
Yeah?
3 takeaways you should know: evolution, glue, and the wheel. Those are the 3 things you got to keep in mind and live by these 3 things. And you'll be a great paleontologist. I'm serious.
The wheel?
The wheel. It's gonna help move stuff. You need.
Okay, sure.
You got
Yeah.
cars, transport.
Important. That's how we got here. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe transporting these guys might have a little sled, but you got a little cart too.
Yeah. That's funny, yeah. The wheel and evolution, those are both ways that we got here, I suppose.
Exactly.
In an ancient sense and an immediate sense. And then glue is how we keep the stuff from falling apart.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
This little piece I put back together.
Oh, yeah, look at that. All glued up, nice and shiny.
Yeah.
Any idea what that is? Looks really
might
thin,
be
yeah.
part of that rib fragment that Quinn found over there.
Uh-huh.
So he was kind of found right up here. So could have been just a little, disarticulated piece.
Yeah.
Still cool, but get that glue up and take it back to the lab and
Nice.
clean it. See what we got.
Yeah, excellent.
Hopefully it fits with the other piece.
Work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Continue tomorrow. Yeah, I think we've been doing a lot of digging.
Oh, Hanaconda says I had to write a literature review about how scientific knowledge about a taxonomic group has changed since 1800. Chose to write about gar. They are cool critters. Yeah.
They really are. Okay.
They're really neat.
I think we could probably do it without the group.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be wrapping this up pretty soon because we
You wanna...
are going to be
Did
heading
you
out.
draw that guy? Did you grid him?
No, that is
we
not
need to-
legit.
Oh, but not yet. We don't know yet.
it's a little-
Get a little more.
Here.
We're not taking it out anytime soon. So we're doing the ones that are going to come out
Yeah.
soon. First.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Just to check in, we're not planning on jacketing anything today, right?
No.
Okay, I'll go ahead and wrap this up pretty soon so we can head back to the vehicles because I've got to drive some of these good folks back to camp. Yeah, again, the wheel. Yeah, wheels are important for travel when you're going out to the field. To a certain extent, They won't take you all the way to the quarry, but they can get you close. And, yeah, right now I'm going to be getting all of you close to somebody else doing some cool stuff on Twitch. So let's see who else is streaming right now. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for the day. So, let's see who is on. We can raid into. Let's see here. Melissa in Denial is on right now. She's got a guest lecture. We're going to move from some paleontology to some archaeology and Egyptology. Go say hello to Melissa in Denial. So let's go ahead and do that. if I can, there we go, go to chat, and raid Melissa in denial. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you everybody for a wonderful stream. I hope you enjoyed hanging out. I hope you've got a newfound or perhaps embiggened for paleontology. I'll be streaming again tomorrow if conditions permit, as I will be hopefully every day until the end of June, as we continue to dig up these dinosaurs and collect data, collect these specimens, all that good stuff. So I'll see you again soon, everybody. And let's go right into Melissa in Denial and say hello to her. She's got a guest lecture going on right now, so we'll go see what's up there. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon.